Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Boneyard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my very handsome co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What's up?
Good morning.
We got Tommy in the chat already saying, yo, 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 you know what time it is. Hey, oi, hey.
Hey, oi, hey, oi,
What
hey.
you just did there, Coop, there was a guy in my high school. Honestly, cool guy. So I don't want this story to make you think he's less cool. Think of this as a cool thing. He called himself the Phoenix, and he would walk around, and when he walked into rooms, he just would throw his hands up like this. And at graduation, when he rocked across the stage and they said his name, he got up, and when he was close enough to the mic, he screamed, "The Phoenix!" and threw the Phoenix up on stage at graduation.
You know how
sick.
You know how cool you got to be to get away with doing that. Right,
Yeah,
you have to set the bar of being cool real high before you start going for the Phoenix, dude.
If I did that, people would be like, "What
That's
this kid doing?"
On the dance floor, I do every once in a while release the dove, kind of throw the hands up, let it fly. You know,
that's a great wedding dance.
Pretty strong move. There's a lot of doves being released, a lot of showers being done at my wedding. You know.
Showers.
At every family wedding I've ever been to, at some point, the whole dance floor breaks out in a uniform pencil. Like somebody starts a pencil, and then all of a sudden, everybody is just arms by their side, legs completely straight, trying to bounce up and down. And it's the most ridiculous thing to just stare at from the outside in. I got to get the dove move flowing at the next one. See if I can get everyone releasing the doves. We can have a whole flurry of them.
The doves and the pencils, bro. I saw not a lot of pencils going on at mine. I might have to get that going. Now, it's an unspoken thing. Like one person does it, and then other people are just like, "Yeah, that's the move."
Yeah, and you know what? I say one person. It's usually Uncle Fuzzy. Uncle Fuzzy's a pencil machine. He's one
of the best in the biz.
He's the best in the biz at the pencil game. Uncle Fuzz, if you're listening, shout out. You can kill it at that pencil. We got Craig in the chat this morning with a Grimace gang. If I squint at that log of wood, I think it's an oven mitt, and then the bacon squad for JL. And then that would just be hogs.
Yeah.
Grimace and the Grimace jacuzzi having a morning, bro. What's up?
Yo, Grimace is unhinged, bro. He's in a Grimace jacuzzi by himself.
What are you doing, dude?
Dude, somebody needs to take out
after it.
I was trying to read way too deep into Craig's emojis. It's logs and hogs, baby. It's logs and hogs.
And aliens.
Hogs. I like it, dude.
Aliens. And good morning, Maria. Welcome in. Glad to have you in here.
Maria.
Maria.
So many good songs you can sing. Dear Maria, count me in. How many times a day do you sing a song to her?
Every day.
Every day? Wow.
Every day.
Which one
But
which one did you sing this morning? Or is it too early? You haven't gotten to the song yet. You do have a long day.
Oh, no. I totally got to the song already. I sang, "Good morning. Good morning. I love you. Good morning."
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Classics. Every time.
Doesn't even have to sing Maria.
Agumba Wale. That one.
Sing that. She's like, my name is Maria.
Damn, that kind of makes me want a team to give Dari Agumbawale another shot because that's a banger, dude. That wants me to get my maracas out and at least give him like a third down back roll. You know?
The first time Joe said that, I was like, you literally have made it so I can't hear that man's name. Like you'll hear it on the announcers and you'll swear to God they just sang it as well. Like not like you sing it, but like you start hearing it from other people sing song and you'll be like, Tony Romo did not just sing that on there. I'm positive of it. But you're like, but did he?
Did he?
That's a much better player song than Tyler Igby picking
Tyler
up rice
Igby.
at a church where the wedding has been. All
Much better,
lonely
much
people,
better.
where do they all come from?
I think that's. I see you've been practicing for your London trip.
Tyler Igby. Yeah,
Tyler Igby.
me and Murph are gonna be leaving the bar singing Tyler Igby.
Dude, your Scooby-Doo impressions.
I so
gotta
badly
work on that one.
want to see video of you doing that accent in London and just just seeing people's reactions. I just want to see you like go and order a coffee in that accent at a coffee shop in London. Can we make it happen?
Hey, Tyler Igby.
You might get the shit beat out of you.
Did you put the kettle? Did you put the kettle on?
They truly,
Shit beat out of you.
yeah, you're just gonna get beat down in a coffee shop in London. Is what's gonna happen.
Give us a bit of the Earl Grey.
Oof. Guys, I see Jolly Rancher in the chat saying top of the morning to you guys. Top of the morning
to you. Good morning, Mama Grunewald.
Guys, I saw something yesterday that I brought up to JL, but I just don't buy it. Okay. Like it seems like the worst cover-up job that the NFL has ever done, and it's for something so stupid. But the referees that asked Mike Evans for his autograph, right? I'm still gonna call them the referees that asked Mike Evans for his autograph after the game, because that's what they did. The story is apparently because Evans and one of the sideline referees went to the same college, they intrinsically know each other and what each other want. And so Lamberth was giving Evans a phone number for a golf pro for lessons, but he didn't have pen and paper, so he had to get it from another referee. And that's why they were talking to Mike Evans after the game. I read that and I was like, psh, like, yeah, right. They were just getting it on.
Almost, dude, it's almost elaborate enough to believe, though.
But it's just a little bit too elaborate to believe. Know what I mean? Like it's a little bit too clean, too perfect. It's like your story has a little bit too much right there where you tried to cover your bases. Oh, and they went to the same college. They know each other. And so they had to get golf lessons. Like, Jill, you brought up yesterday, like, how the hell did he know he needed golf lessons? Like, that's almost like, worse, right?
Yeah, like what led to them talking golf in the whatever it's called. What do you call that? The runway?
Yeah, the runway. You nailed it.
I'd say give that
big
guy
hole.
Give that guy a little break from Bucks games for a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's a little breather, you know.
Just a little, you know. There's like, you know, somewhere between 12 and 16 games a week. Maybe don't assign him to those games for a little bit.
I still think the premise is stupid that the players and the refs can't talk to each other in that like sense, but I agree with you, Simon. It is just like kind of elaborate. It's like why did you start talking golf?
I'm just imagining Mike Evans like on that big drop, like it hits the ground and he's like, damn it, I need golf lessons. And the sideline referee runs up and he's like, you'll have to
see me after the game.
Got you, man. Yeah, meet me in the tunnel. Like that didn't happen. Or if they're just like casually chatting to the point where they can get to the point where like Mike Evans, that's like at least 10 back and forths in before someone brings up that they need golf lessons, right?
Right.
Like you don't open a conversation with that. That's not the first thing you say to someone when you walk into a room.
Or you talk about it at literally any other time possible.
Yeah, if you guys are friends from college, just text each other, bro.
Wow.
Like, why I got to talk at the game?
Well, I got
it's
you.
2022. Instagram chat each other.
Yeah, they're close enough for him to know he needed golf lessons, but not close enough to where he needs to get his phone number now.
Right?
Yeah. Like somehow before the game, he knew he needed golf lessons.
I just thought, hey, I got to talk to you about something much later, right? Just a quick one of those on the field is fine. I mean, people seem to.
Mike Evans is like, me? What? Okay.
Complete strangers seem to find me to ask me if they should start Tyler Conklin or Noah Fant every week. So like, it's probably not that hard to find.
Because you advertise to those complete strangers.
No, I don't tell them to DM me on these like hidden Reddit DMs that I can't even find.
Coop, here's the secret sauce. If you go to my Twitter, what you're going to see is like, I think
are
the most
live.
recent thing I tweet. Yeah, you're going to see some of that. And then you're also going to see like, do you wipe with your dominant or non-dominant hand? That was a very important thing I asked yesterday. So no one's really like messaging me like Tyler Conklin or Noah Fant, but sometimes I get the DM like, it's
The heck are
got
you
to be
talking about?
non-dominant because it's improper etiquette to wipe with your dominant hand.
Or
And
should I see a doctor? Is this normal? Those types of texts you
Is
get.
it improper
Right.
etiquette? Like, it's not like this is like rural, where there's like where you don't have a sink. Like, I mean, in what situations are you taking a growler where you don't have a sink within like 5 feet of you to just wash your hands?
I guess the premise is the complete trust in your hand washing ability and others' hand washing ability.
I'll tell you
Like,
right
I
now,
think
probably the best there's ever been. When it comes to poop on my hands,
I'm just really peeking.
when it comes to poop on or possibly on my hands, probably the best at making sure that it's not on there. So I'll tell you what, I go out of my way to make sure it's not on there.
Incredible. You're a man of honor, Coop. That's so honorable.
Yeah, and you over here are like, I don't trust myself enough to use my good hand. So I'm just gonna use this.
Really need to,
I'm just gonna use this hand I have here, this disposable hand I have here, and just cover it with poop and go about my day.
Craig brings up a great point. Kids are terrible at hand washing. So if you believe like when you learn the wiping maneuver is maybe when it's most useful, and you would probably have that stick with you the rest of your life. So maybe it's less of it's important for you to do it now, and more you should teach your kids to do it that way, and it's probably going to stick with them forever, even though it doesn't matter when they're an adult.
I'm going to be honest with you, Simon. I don't have kids.
Me neither.
But okay, but the thing is, then like here's the exchange. Here's the exchange. Right? Yeah, if we had kids, we wouldn't be on here talking about football 3 hours every morning. Here's the exchange.
Like packing a lunch,
right?
and doing like real important things.
Is it worth it to do the suboptimal wiping in the first place?
I would challenge you that I am not suboptimal at wiping with my left hand. I think I would be suboptimal at wiping with my right hand, because all my training's with the left. And how much force? So
you have a higher ceiling. There's a higher ceiling with your right hand than with your left hand. Like, so I
think it caps.
Although
ceiling.
It's like
if you can cap out the ceiling of wiping, then everyone should be able to reach the ceiling of washing your hands.
Just
one you're doing with your eyes shut, like it's like a trick shot.
I have no idea what we're arguing about.
We've got a high school baseball team, Coop. Okay, right? High school baseball team. They're in the state championship game. You plug Chipper Jones into that team. They're probably going to win, right? But also, if you just take a random D1 baseball player and plug them onto that team, they're also still probably going to win. I'm saying you don't need all that ceiling. Like, how much force or precision are you using with that right hand?
But think about the axe here. First of all, you're making Chipper bat lefty already, right? So, like, you're already putting him at a disadvantage. The other thing, dude, is that like one of these maneuvers you're doing is like a through the legs windmill dunk. Right, which is the wiping. You can't see what's going on, dude, unless you have some sort of elaborate mirror setup. The other one is
it's the only way.
The other one is right in front of your face with your hands. You're just washing them right here. Look at that. So that's what I'm saying, dude. You got to pick your maneuvers, dude.
I'm a you can never be too careful with a washing your hands kind of guy. Take that additional precaution, and that's probably why I live over on the left side.
What if you have someone else wipe? What dominant hand is that?
Live on the left. So wait, but the thing
is, your extra. Then that's really a dominant.
Does it matter if it's their dominant hand or not?
If you want to take this to another level, like, so then you go and sit down at lunch and you put your left hand behind your back and just eat with your right hand. You got this one poop hand behind your back, and you're
like, one hand. Keep this like far away.
You still eat with both your hands, doofus.
Just throw that one in. Let me just tack on this.
Let the record show. I retract the doofus. I apologize for calling you a doofus.
I understand. We get caught up in the heat of the moment, especially on important topics like these, Coop.
I will retract the doofus. I apologize.
But I just really appreciate that we're able to have the difficult conversations like these, Coop. Like, I understand a doofus slips out from time to time.
Right.
No, and you know what? I hear you. You're probably right. I don't think it's harmful to wipe with your left hand, though. I think that's where we disagree.
Okay.
The results of the poll were interesting. Coop, most people agree with you. Over 80% of people, it was like 85% last time I checked, wipe with their dominant hand. But the non-dominant crowd was very vocal. The non-dominant crowd were the ones commenting. They were the ones who had something to say about it. Like the dominant hand people were just like, yeah, I've never thought about it. The non-dominant hand people were the ones who were like, I'm so glad you asked. Like they were ready to go.
If I've learned anything from Reddit, the vocal minority are the most dangerous.
Also, Craig in here, I think we got you beat, Coop. He says Chipper Jones batted from both sides of the plate. So we win. Left-handers
And
win, baby.
That settles it, dude.
That settles it.
Isn't there a culture somewhere, like an international culture, where it's rude to shake with one of your hands because that's the poop wiping hand?
My guess. I don't actually. It would be culturally insensitive to even guess without knowing, so I'm not going to do that. But if I had to guess,
I'm pretty sure that's true.
I know there's really strict like handshake and greeting etiquette in Japan. Like I used to work for a Japanese company, and before we would have like executives come over, we would get like lessons in like etiquette on greeting them. Like with business cards, you would have to two hands present your business card to them at the same time. You then take it, you have to read the business card in front of them, like show them that you read it, then you bow, and then you have to leave it on the table in front of you the entire time you're at the meeting. You're not allowed to put it away. So the business cards have to stay out. It's considered rude to put it away. So I know there was handshake like etiquette we learned as well, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, I guess in that sense,
I think it's Indian culture is maybe the one I'm thinking of, where it's like it's considered rude to do things with your left hand because that's your hand for personal hygiene.
I was going to guess, but didn't want to guess that. Now in Japan, Simon,
I did look it up.
Since you're presenting your card with both hands, then it doesn't matter which hand you wipe with.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense.
JL, I want you to weigh in on this one. Tommy, interesting point in the chat. So I'm one of those guys who believes when you pee in public spaces, it's cleaner not to wash your hands. I know where my ween has been. I have no idea who touched the faucet last. JL, what is your thoughts on that?
You're thinking about this, Tommy, from your own. You got a myopic view here of your own hygiene, because it's not just about what you're getting. It's the fact that now other people shaking your hand are touching your ween by trans. And that's what you don't want. You turn that faucet on. Listen, most public restrooms nowadays, maybe not most, but like 50-50 got those little sensors. You just stick your hand under, you wave it. You don't got to touch nothing. And even if you do have to touch something, you grab like a towel, pick up the faucet, or do the elbow maneuver like this. It's not weird.
That's exactly what I was going to say, JL. It's all about maneuvering the sink. You don't have to touch the faucet. You don't have to touch the faucet. You got to wash your hands.
You can't walk around with peeing hands, Tommy.
Now, I will say, I think
you're sacrificing your elbow. You're getting all those germs on your elbow, dude.
That's fine. I don't do anything with my elbow.
I think the other thing is he said pee in public spaces. That was everything. I'll give it to Tommy that there are bathrooms where I'm like, get in, get out. Like every second we spend in here is a danger to my health. Like in that instance, sprint out that door, find some hand sanitizer. But 99% of bathrooms, Tommy, are usually going to be all right. And he said Home Depot. No, you got to wash your hands at a Home Depot bathroom.
Tommy said, bros don't shake hands. Brothers got to hug. Now you're getting your peeing hands all over my back. I don't want that either.
And your elbows that are all covered from like touching faucets with them.
Nasty faucets.
Well, I'm glad we covered that topic. What is this show about?
Yeah. This show's about football. Hey,
all right.
There's an interesting Belichick quote we could talk about here. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Andrew Siciliano tweeted out that a reporter asked Bill Belichick, if Mac Jones is healthy, is he the starter? Belichick said, again, that's a hypothetical question. Let's see where that is and what that is.
Pretty good.
What?
Dude, I saw a breakdown of so somebody took comments that he's made throughout the press conference and broke them all down together. Let me see if I can pull this puppy up because it makes it even more ridiculous. Because earlier he said that here it is. Andrew Callahan was there. He goes, Mac was healthy enough to start, but he broke down the full extent of the conversations between all the guys there. He says Mac was healthy enough to start, but his health factored into Belichick's decision to play QBs. Then Belichick said pulling Mac wasn't a medical decision or an outright benching. Then Belichick said he won't say if Mac was healthy to play the whole game or if he's the starter now.
He goes, let's see where that is and what that is.
That's what I was
what does that mean?
Watching a tennis match. He basically came out and said, like, every possible thing while saying nothing, which is his specialty.
It's like you might as well have just answered like, are either of them really the starter? Like,
Either
Exactly.
real.
aren't we all the starting quarterbacks
It's
for the
all
New
a
England Patriots if we
simulation,
really
man.
think about it?
We're all made of the same stuff as stars in the end of the day.
he hits him with like the
Don't-
Neil deGrasse Tyson. We're all
don't
made
be-
from stardust.
Don't we all look up at the same stars every night? Like that's how he answers the question.
Dude, the moment
so
Bill
worried
Belichick
about
starts
who the
getting
next-
poetic,
Yeah.
it's done.
We're
He gets
so worried
poet-
about who the next star is. We forget that we're all stars when at the end of the day.
If you want him to get poetic, ask him about the history of the long snapper position, and he'll get poetic for about 25 straight minutes. But if you ask him about the
25
actual
minutes.
the actual football team during the press conference, which is a designated time to ask him questions, he will become very upset.
Oh, I see Fancy in here saying all handshaking should become high fives. Morning, dudes. Morning, Fancy. Welcome in.
What's up, Fensty?
Fensty making a great point, dude.
That's true. I'm cool with the high fives. I'm cool with the daps, I think, but they're just different forms of handshakes, guys.
Yeah.
Normalize the fist bump.
If we were going to convert over to daps and fist bumps, that would have definitely been it. Oh, the Obama era was the time, because he set the tone with his daps and his fist bumps when he would throw them out
'cause
there.
he's just the man.
Joe Biden's not going to make it happen, dude. We gotta we
Yeah,
need.
we rely on the president to set our cultural
I think we-
cultural.
I think we do,
etiquette.
dude. I think
And we need
do.
to wait for one to come to let us know that we can dap all the time.
I'm just saying, dude. I didn't have a tan suit until Obama was president.
Now there's one sitting in the closet ready to go.
Ready to
I
rock.
love Obama. Obama, come
He's
on
a-
the show, please.
Man.
Tom,
Keith, get Obama, please.
Get Obama, please. Oh my God, Keith, I will love you forever.
we got Dustin in here saying Jail's facial hair looks way darker than yesterday. Progress looks good. Killing it,
We're
JL.
seeing,
Growing
boys. We're seeing what happens. Experiment. It's pretty uncomfortable. I almost
What do
shaved
you-
it this morning.
Oh, you growing a little something there?
I've never grown out my beard ever in my life.
Yeah,
I've always
let
just
it
shaved
ride, dude.
it.
Good
So I was
start.
like, I'm gonna see what we got.
I'll tell you right now.
Off.
I'll tell you right now. It looks like a Fu Manchu at least is entirely possible.
Oh yeah. That's
Worst
what we're
case
working with here.
Worst case scenario, dude. Chew it for a bit. That'd be nice.
We'll see. It's the cheek hair that's really the.
Yeah.
If this doesn't come in, it's over. Game over for me. I'm not going goatee.
I'll
It's
tell
not
you.
1980s. I'm not my
Can I-
dad.
Can I give you a first beard pro tip here?
Yeah.
It's okay to shave the hair on your neck during this period, because that's where it's going to get super itchy. When you like go like this and your neck hair starts to grow, and
Yeah.
it's okay to not have a neck beard.
Good to know. I
That
appreciate
doesn't
that
sound
insight.
right.
I'll
I thought it's okay
if
to
you ask-
only have a neck beard.
If you ask,
You can
if
just
you ask
shave
Jo-
everything
Josh, you have to ask Josh Larkey. The neck,
Oh, he's the king.
the neck beard king.
The neck big beard king.
He grows a strong. It's either him or Andrew Luck that grows the strongest neck beard. But I'll tell you
I
right
think
now,
Larky's got him, honestly, because Larky like embraces it too. He's like fear the neck beard. He's
Yeah,
ready
yeah,
to
yeah.
go.
He has a number of neck beard related tweets, dude. He's in. But I would suggest, the goal here is to have hair on your face, maybe a little towards the neck area, but you don't need to keep these puppies down here. Those are the itchy ones, brother.
Jail looks a bit like Wooly Willy. Do you guys remember Wooly Willy, the like magnetic toy with the pen that you move around to put
Yeah.
hair on? And it was like the little magnetic
Yeah.
dust in there.
It
that
does
you
look
remove.
like that.
It does look
like
a
that.
little Wooly Willy.
Paul Pierce's beard always looked like you just kind of shook one of those up and left it. Although I know he did get stabbed in the face, so that could be part of why. But
Yeah,
Tommy said, Mike Piazza in the house. JL, you look more like him every day. Grow the Fu Manchu.
Girl, you're gonna be Mike Piazza for Halloween. Is that what this is all about?
That's what this is all about.
Did you guys see Aaron Rodgers' comments on the Buffalo Bills yesterday? He said great quarterback, great defense, very well coached, a lot of weapons, Jake Kumaro, a lot going for them.
Wow, dude. The Kumaro.
Words.
Let it
Many
go,
words.
brother. Let it go, dude. Love how you got so upset
Oh
over
my
this
God.
dude going to another team, and that dude, he doesn't even play.
He said Jake Kumaro, a lot going for them. Just like, had to put that out there. No, but probably more importantly, yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers said that the Packers are routinely making double-digit mental errors in games this season, when in past seasons that was at most 7. And he said, and I quote, "Guys who are making too many mistakes shouldn't be playing. Got to start cutting some reps." He's going for blood
At most
now.
7?
He said at most 7. He's been tracking
That's
mistakes.
very specific.
I was gonna say, dude,
There's a game in his mind where he's like, I can't believe we had 7 effing mistakes. Like, I'm gonna kill them. And
now we're at 11.
Now we're at
Freak,
11.
guys.
Imagine you walk in the locker room and there's a big like sheet posted on the door, and everybody crowds around it every day to see how many mental mistakes Aaron Rodgers believes that they made.
Everyone's like his diary where he's just like shitting on people.
Everyone's like, Aaron Jones, like, yes, only 1 this week, and then like Al Lazard gets up there and he's like, oh,
every player has a
6
whiteboard
again.
in their locker that says it has been this number of days since my last mistake. And like Aaron Rodgers after the game just goes around to each locker and erases it.
Christian Watson's like, what? I got 1. I didn't even play this week. And then Aaron Rodgers pulls up the film, and it's just like a clip of him accidentally squirting water like onto AJ Dillon's like neck instead of in his mouth. And he's like, you see this? Sloppy
mental mistake.
That's a mental mistake.
And Maria said, I told you Aaron Rodgers has a burn book. Yeah, I would not be surprised.
She's also team no beard. Of all the people that you need on team beard, she is.
Why do you think I've never grown out my beard, Coop?
She's the only one that
it's not hard logic to follow.
There's really only 2 people that have say in this beard situation. Maybe your mom. My mom actually does that from time to time. She's like, trim your beard. I'm like, okay, mom.
She's like, come on, have some self-respect.
Absolutely. You are right.
Yes, ma'am.
My mom tries so hard not to tell me to cut my hair. Like she tries really hard not to say it. I can tell she's like, don't tell him to cut his hair. Don't tell him to cut his hair. And then it sneaks out. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just your mother. And I'm like, it's okay.
Like,
Mom, you're allowed to say that. I was like, just no, I'm not going to, but you're allowed to say it. And I respect that you say that. I expect you to as my mother.
I'll give her Jolly Rancher. If you're watching, here's the trick. Every time you see him go, oh, did you cut your hair? And when he says no, you go, oh.
You nailed it too.
see if you can get that cut. Thanksgiving's coming up soon. You can get him again at Christmas.
my mom chiming in, laughing.
There she. Yeah, those are the tricks, dude.
And Tommy saying Dustin asked Keith has a list of this show's mental mistakes. Yeah, he keeps track of them. And Tommy said, isn't the whole show just one mental mistake?
Yes.
Oh, dude,
yes.
I've been having Scooby-Doo nightmare mental mistakes since yesterday. I'm gonna binge watch some Scooby-Doo and come back with something strong.
Do it. Go watch first one. You got to watch Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Okay, I'll Google it right now, dude.
I don't know if you should start at the peak.
Should I start with like a Globetrotters episode then?
Yeah, maybe you should start with some other episodes and then get to that once you get into.
I swear, I don't think I've ever watched an episode of just Scooby-Doo. Like I've seen him in like commercials and stuff. But like, I don't know. I was never a big Scoob guy.
My mom hates Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo growing up.
Your mom doesn't like Scooby-Doo?
No, because I mean, of course she'd have to watch it while I was watching it. She's like, it's always the same thing. It's just the same formula.
I was gonna say I loved it as a kid growing up. I went back and was like watching some in the background, and it's fine in the background. Like I was not enthralled by what was on my screen, but I still treasure Scooby-Doo for what it is.
It is what it is. They found a formula that works. And you know what? They do it very well at times. So say what you want about the specials down there. I see you, Tommy, saying specials are horrible. Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase was a work of art.
I mean, my experience, I mean, my limited understanding, an episode of Scooby-Doo to me goes like this. Some dude contracts them to check out like a haunted mansion, right? They walk around, fall through like a rug covering a hole in the ground, and then they find the guy, and it turns out that it was the dude that contacted them in the first place.
You're missing a very important part of the sequence. There's always a montage where they are running around and there's music playing, and the villain is chasing them, and and it's this whole like fun, like ho ho, you got me, I got you, didn't get you, got me.
Somebody's holding the ghost. Somebody's holding the ghost in their hands by mistake.
exactly by mistake, and then he throws it up and they run away in different directions. Yeah, absolutely. That's in every single episode, and it's usually about 75% of the way through.
Sounds like a pretty good show. I'll have to get in. I'll get in there and I'll redeem myself with the impression.
They should make just like a 2-hour loop of a Scooby chase just to have in the background. I feel like that would be the perfect amount of entertaining to have as my background image all day. Know what I mean? Just all the characters of Scooby-Doo running in and out of doors, random silly things happening. And like, it's just in the background constantly. And like, there's little things that change with every run of the loop. Oh, let's make it happen. That would be cool.
There's definitely one of those out there. There's no question.
Without a doubt. Did you guys see the Broncos? This came from Dov Kleiman, NFL, but he said the Broncos' top pass rusher, Bradley Chubb, will be traded by Tuesday if Denver loses to the Jaguars in Week 8. And he got that from Mike Florio. But that seems crazy. That seems like a point where they're kind of giving up on the season, right? Like if they're trading away Bradley Chubb, their best pass rusher, they're probably full on quitting, right?
Dude, I heard that rumor, and it extends into a world that would make our own Mr. Simon very happy boy. There's also a rumor that Jerry Jeudy might be on the trade block, in which case our long-haired tight end friend could, one of two long-haired tight ends they have. It annoys me that Eric Tomlinson is allowed to also have long hair, because I thought that was I tweeted about that. I thought that was Dulcich. I was like, dude, one long-haired dude per crew, please. But if Jerry Jeudy's gone, that removes. So like I look at a number of metrics for elite tight ends. I have an article up. If you go to it's actually pinned to my profile right now on Twitter, because it's called "What Makes an Elite Tight End," and I go step by step everything I've learned about the position. And there's a number of boxes that need to be checked. The number one most important box is that for high-end upside, elite tight ends, is that the tight end, at least in his range of outcomes, is that he can be a top 2 target on his team. And if Jerry Jeudy were removed from this team, he would not only hit that box, but he would hit boxes like doesn't block on pass plays, which he doesn't. Lines up at wide receiver, which he does. He runs high A-dot routes. His routes are all over 10 yards. Like this guy would check. He checks literally, as of right now, just about every box except the top 2 target box. So if Jerry Jeudy gets traded, I'm not just talking about back end tight end 1 here. It could be full on wheels up, top 5 upside situation.
Oh my gosh, I would be so happy. And the teams where I held him like just stupidly through the first 5-6 weeks. There's a couple of them where I was just like, I'm going to keep holding. Those teams will be very happy. But also, I'm a big Jerry Jeudy guy as well. Like, I love Jerry Jeudy. I love his route running ability. I would be thrilled to see him in a better spot right now. Like, him to the Packers, that would be fun. And it looks like they're actively shopping for wide receivers as well.
I mean, dude, this speaks to, not to go off on tight ends, but this speaks to dynasty, why it's people always stress to go after the guys you want regardless of situations, because the situations change so quick. And always our ability to assess these situations isn't always that good. People faded A.J. Brown because he was going to play with Ryan Tannehill. He was great over there. And then he got traded to play with Jalen Hurts. Like, we were worried about Albert O because he was behind Noah Fant. And we were super worried about Greg Dulcich because he was behind them both. And guess what? He's not behind them anymore. And it only took like 2 games. So, like, go after talent in Dynasty. Roster talent, start opportunity.
Yep. 100%. If you start making those draft decisions, that is the quickest way to start regretting your draft decision so quickly. Like, you're just going to sit there and go, why the hell didn't I take that guy? I knew he was better. Know what I mean? Like, when you're like, I knew it. I liked him more as a player before the draft, and then I just didn't take him. We saw it with some people got too cute with CEH as well that
that's
year.
The one I did. I drafted him in one. I had it Jonathan Taylor. It hurts. I'll never do that again.
See, you do it once, and then you don't do it again. You learn that lesson quickly. Joe, you said you did that same one.
Yeah. I went for CEH as well.
Brings me great pain.
It happens.
But truly, you do that, and then you're like, it
wasn't
just draft the guy I like.
It wasn't just the Chiefs. It was also the pass catching. But like, then I look back at it and I was like, Jonathan Taylor doesn't need to catch passes. He's amazing. He ran for like 1,800 yards or whatever. So same with Kenneth Walker. Like, Don't worry about that. Just draft the players that are good.
Also, Craig was
Talent.
coming in here with a good tidbit saying Bradley Chubb is in the last year of his deal. They signed Randy Gregory to a big deal, and Baron Browning has showed well as a pass rusher. I don't think it is giving up. I don't think they want to pay him. And then Chubb has also been injured a ton and has not had the stats to match his draft position. So this,
To Craig's point, the Patriots traded away Chandler Jones in a similar situation and then won the Super Bowl that season.
now it was the Patriots, right? Like I don't think the Broncos.
They must have
aspirations of it.
cheated somehow.
No, that's yeah, that's what I was saying. That's 100% what I was saying.
Yeah.
They-
I'll tell you, the Broncos coming into the season definitely had those aspirations.
They did. Yeah, that was for real. And shout out Tommy at the beginning of the year. I think it was pure homer bias, but he was 100% right about these Broncos being absolute frauds.
Gotta eat a tomato.
The NFL suspended chief defensive end Frank Clark for 2 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Does this affect your guys' your thoughts on the Chiefs here, Chiefs defense?
Oh, I didn't
What
see
was
that.
it that he did?
Yeah.
When did that come out? Last night?
I've seen it this morning. I don't know when it dropped though.
Oh, here we go.
13 hours ago.
Ian Rappaport. Stemming from him pleading no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges from June 2021, possession of a concealed firearm.
Pled no
it
contest in both
It says
charges.
they found an Uzi sticking out of a duffel bag in the backseat of his Lamborghini after they pulled him over for a vehicle code violation.
Damn, bro, that's
Suspended.
so hard.
Right?
That's so
I heard that
hard.
and I was like, "What a that's a sentence that's never even possible for me."
No.
Right? Like you read that and you're like, "Huh, we live really different lives, don't we, man?" Like that
Uzi in the back of your duffel bag in your Lamborghini.
in your Lambo, in your freaking Lamborghini. He's like,
dude,
yeah,
that
I'll
is
take
so hard.
He's telling the
Yeah.
cop, like, "Yeah, I'll just take the charges, man." Like,
Oh, sorry,
see me?
this is sticking out in the in the open too.
No big deal. I'll miss 2 days of work. I'll be fine.
Yeah, 2 days of work. 2 days suspended for his illegal. Well, I guess we don't know if the gun was illegal. Just
It's a Uzi, bro.
wasn't
I thought-
allowed to conceal it.
Do they make non-automatic Uzis? I'm not a big gun guy.
No,
but
I don't know
fairly
enough about that.
My
I have
understanding,
no idea.
my understanding
I
of
don't know anything
Uzis from
about
video
guns.
games is that they're all automatic. But maybe you can get a non-automatic Uzi, which is kind of
That's also my knowledge from video games.
Maybe he had a one of those.
Hey,
stickers.
hey,
you
man.
get like a
TV.
stamp, so you can have illegal, so you can have automatic weapons as like collector's stamp, whatever tax stamps or whatever. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just gun. That's gun talk for today.
That's gun talk for today.
But to answer your question, JL, yeah, of course it has a negative impact on this Chiefs defense, but they have the top scoring offense in the league. I don't think this affects the outlook for them too much from a touchdowns perspective, right? I think they've scored the most touchdowns in the league by a decent chunk, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, I'm also seeing on here KJ Hamler is actually being discussed more than Jerry Jeudy, according to Bleacher Report.
that would
Trade away.
In trade rumors, yeah.
that would get a big
that's
old,
less
that would get a
exciting.
big old whatever from me.
Yeah,
Packers
that's,
are looking for wide receivers. Maybe Packers trade for Jerry Jeudy. That'd be interesting.
that's what I was saying. But if they traded for KJ Hamler, I feel like Aaron Rodgers would be like, "Dude,
You
Like,
stink. Too many
dude,
mental mistakes.
he would just look at the coaches and be like, I know I want like the guy, like give me
Yeah.
someone who like where people are like, whoa, like just one person, please.
Catchy,
That's all
big,
I'm
big.
asking. Give me a DJ Moore, give me a Jerry Jeudy, like anything. I'll like he's probably desperate at this point.
Where's
Yeah.
Will Fuller, dude? Where are you?
That's a good question. That
I
is a good
drafted
question.
him in one league this year and I dropped him a couple weeks ago because what was like, I'm not just sitting around. I've literally heard nothing. Like I haven't even heard a whisper about Will Fuller.
Dude, the fact that people are signing Deshaun Jackson means that he's not playing, dude.
Yo, Pang in here coming in helping us out. He said you can get a non-automatic Mac 10, or yeah, you can get a non-automatic Uzi. I think it's called a Mac 10 technically. There you
Okay.
go.
There we go.
Well, okay, wait a second. If this is legit, no, this can't be right. Oh wow.
I mean, I believe
It looks
Pang.
like Will Fuller announced that he's officially retiring and he's transitioning to a career in video game content creation after signing a 2-year contract with the brand 100 Thieves, which is a legitimate brand. I wonder if they
It is a
announced.
brand.
I wonder if they announced that though. I don't
You
see
know
them.
what?
I don't see them denying it.
That sounds pretty cool. Like if that's true, he's like, you know what? I can either go out there and get the crap beat out of me on a weekly basis, or I can sit at my computer and play video games and hang out and make money on a deal with a professional gaming company. Like
There's
I love
only
football,
two-
don't get me wrong, but
There's only 2 tweets that tag him in that, dude. One
Maybe
of them's
it
the
fell
guy that
through.
has 10K followers. I don't know.
maybe it fell through.
All right. Well, move
Hank
100
says
Thieves
Will
up in your
Fuller
rankings.
Peng said Will Fuller will get tendonitis and be out for an entire season. Yeah, maybe he missed the gaming season this year as well. Maybe that's what's going down. Guys, coming up, we're going to play a little bit of match game. If you guys have any questions for us, throw them in the chat as well. We would love to answer any and all start, sit, or fantasy questions you've got for us this week. We'll be talking some trade strategy a little bit later in today's show as well. We've got some hypothetically coming up, and then our friend Calvin Watkins is joining the show a little bit later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured
It's like
out.
the least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right, he's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. It's just me and you, Coop. It's just Coop and not the hog.
Figure it out, dude. Coop and Gilbert Godfrey.
Coop and Gilbert Gottfried.
Coop and the Wookiee.
Coop, we had a question coming in the chat, and I think it's a perfect one for you to start us off on. Being a Pats fan and all. Dustin said, are we starting either Pats QB this week if they name one?
I mean, it has, dude. You know what situation it has to be to start one of those guys. It has to be a super flex or 2 QB league where you have the other options are Mariota or somebody just real rough. I don't know. So say they come out today and say Mac Jones is definitively the starting quarterback. Do you start him over Kenny Pickett?
Nope.
See,
I don't think so.
Exactly. That's the only question that needs to be answered. So like your back needs to be up against the ropes to start a Patriots quarterback.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking I can't think of a situation where I'm plugging him in unless it truly is. Are there positional players like that you would plug in over him, or is the line well above that?
Well, yeah. Well, no, because the thing is you have so many. When you think about Superflex, it's not like you can sit here and be like, oh, well, I would start Cooper Kupp over him because you obviously have a spot for him. Yeah. So probably not. I mean, you're still starting a quarterback no matter what at that spot. But like the problem with Mac Jones now is that let's say you even considered Kenny Pickett and Mac Jones exactly even. Kenny Pickett somehow has a lesser chance of getting benched than Mac Jones does. Like Mac Jones could go out and throw a pick and then get benched, and then you get negative. That's the real. His floor is now lower than anybody else because.
So let me pitch a situation that I think isn't unreasonable based on how drafts went this year. Chris Godwin is on your bench as your fourth wide receiver. You drafted him late. Would you start Chris Godwin over Mac Jones in that super flex spot?
Yeah,
100%,
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying like that's a high option that you have on your bench, but I think there are teams out there with Chris Godwin on their bench, right? Like I've seen teams. We've had questions come in where they're like, "Here's my wide receivers. Who do I bench?" And the answer is Chris Godwin because they drafted well in the early rounds and got a great value on him.
I get questions all the time where it's like we one way or another we tell them to bench a Cortland Sutton or a Tyler Lockett or a Dameon Pierce. Like start those guys over Mac Jones. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my answer is probably no. Are we starting another Pats QB? But it is truly a back up against the wall. There's no other options. Your next guy up is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Then you can throw Mac Jones in that super flex spot. Good to go. Excuse me.
Your excuse.
We got Tommy in the chat saying Brady's going to be pissed. Come out firing. Big week for Godwin. Do you guys buy into that narrative? The narrative that this week is going to be a big Brady week because he lost so big and he's so mad?
No.
Kind of, actually. Kind of. We've seen it before. We've seen them take out their frustration on teams. Like, people forget that we're on to Cincinnati. Ever remembers the quote, "We're on to Cincinnati"? They forget that Cincinnati got absolutely crushed in that game. Like, they came out ready to steamroll, dude. So, I don't know. I could see it.
Convenient that JL said no when they play the Ravens this week.
Ooh, look out, dude. It's also a short week. Ravens could be missing some pieces, JL. Do you have as of yesterday, I saw that Bateman and Andrews not practicing. So we got to keep an eye on that.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday practice, so I'm a little less concerned. We'll see as the week progresses, but yeah, we got to keep an eye on that for sure.
But they weren't even there. Like it's not like they were even like working out on the sideline. They were just like not there. They're hiding. They were just like, "It's Tuesday, my dudes. Let's go get a milkshake."
Dude, why does PFF use BLT as the Ravens abbreviation?
It's the official one. So
is BLT
the official ones for the NFL? Some of them aren't the same as. It annoys me too. Like I think Houston is like HST instead of HOU. It does. They are the official ones. The official NFL ones are different than like the airport ones and stuff. It's kind of annoying.
Interesting. Yeah, it is. No, it is really annoying. I just don't like how it looks. I think ball sounds better. PAL sounds.
It looks way better, dude. Yeah. Imagine if the Jaguars couldn't use JAX, which is obviously the best one. Like So here are the official ones that are kind of weird. Baltimore, there were a couple. I was looking through them and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Tampa Bay, I've seen sometimes is TBB.
Like so, Cleveland. What do you think Cleveland is?
CLE.
CLV.
So it's not CLV, but the commonly used one is CLE, but they use CLV. Houston is another one. I already gave that one away, but you would think it's HOU, but it's HST for the NFL.
What's the Las Vegas Raiders? Are they still LV?
Yeah. There would be riots in the streets if they couldn't. I don't know why it's different for some. I'm looking at it now. Most of them are what you would think it would be, but there's a couple of them that you're just like, huh.
I'm with you, JL, though, on BLT. It truly does just sound like that already is something. It's already something. Like it doesn't even matter what it is. It just is something. It's something else already. We know what a BLT is. It's a It's a
What do you-
lackluster sandwich.
And it's not like
What do
they're
you-
like it's just that this is like a vowel thing because other abbreviations, other teams are using vowels. So why not just use the vowel?
What do you guys think Atlanta is?
ATL.
If it is not ATL, that is ludicrous.
I just had to throw one curveball in there just to keep it honest.
What
What do you think? What do you
I was like,
think?
what would it even be?
What do you think Carolina is?
Sierra.
Car.
What do you think Arizona is?
ARI.
Ours.
ARZ.
Got it.
Mm.
Nailed it.
Oh.
Can't trick me with the Z in Arizona.
Is Will Smith here? Haha.
Oh, that wasn't even purpose. Also, Tommy's getting pissed.
I don't
I said
like it.
lackluster about a BLT. Said, "Oh my god, BLT is awesome." I mean, like usually the bread to filling ratio is just so off on a BLT because bacon's just like, I don't know, it's not enough to overpower the lettuce and tomato, and then your sandwich is this skinny little baby sandwich, and like all I taste is tomato. and
The
salt.
most important part of the sandwich is having a good tomato. That makes or breaks a BLT.
So maybe that's true. All I'm tasting is the tomato, and I'm not a big tomato guy, and that's why I don't like it.
I love BLT that has a ton of salt and pepper on it. Salt and pepper
Wow.
becomes a main ingredient on a BLT.
I know, Jail. I know you do not eat bacon. So do you like an LT? Do you like a lettuce and tomato sandwich?
I like a lettuce and tomato sandwich if you put other veggies on there. Then
What
yes.
else you put on there?
Like
put little
more
cucumbers on
tomato
there,
and more
put
lettuce?
some lettuce or spinach.
Cubes.
Ooh, spinach so good. Some green peppers.
Cuke's is pretty aggressive.
Cuke is pretty aggressive,
Green peppers,
but in the
yeah.
best way.
Mm.
Well, in an
Well,
okay
once-
way.
I
I'm not
feel like
that
once you-
crazy about
Once you put,
cucumbers.
once you put, oh really? I was saying, once you put cukes on that sandwich, that's a cucumber sandwich.
Like I like cucumbers. I'm just saying, like I'm not gonna go to bat for cucumbers. I'm not
It's
going
like-
to war for no cucumbers.
It's
If
like
you-
banana
dude.
in a smoothie. If a banana goes in a smoothie, that's now a banana flavored smoothie. There might be some other flavors, but it's banana. Cukes in a sandwich, same thing. You're right. It's the dominant
Yeah.
flavor now.
If all vegetables went to war, Jail, who are you going to bat for? Like who are you waving
Potatoes
the flag
easily,
for?
easily.
Smart dude.
They've amassed an army of
I picture
Americans.
they would have an underground bunker.
I
And
refuse to. Potatoes are my favorite, but I refuse to join them on principle that they don't count. They don't count. That's not fair to say potatoes are your favorite vegetable.
Whatever.
Shut up.
I'm
Shut up.
team cauliflower.
Hey.
I'm going to fight with all the cauliflower guys. There's
Oh,
only like
dude.
10 of us, but cauliflower is the elite
Tell
vegetable.
cauliflower to
Elite.
tell cauliflower to quit pretending like it's other foods.
Yeah,
Quit,
elite is
quit pretending like you're
hilarious.
chicken, dude. You're not buffalo chicken, bro.
Cauliflower is fantastic, and I'm glad that it pretends to be buffalo chicken because it allows me to eat like buffalo wings, like I
Oh.
used to, which I enjoy.
This goes back to the Fig Newton argument though, where it's like, don't pretend that you're buffalo. Just be your own. Don't pretend that you're buffalo chicken. Be your own thing. Be yourself.
Be buffalo
Right.
cauliflower.
Stay true to yourself.
I'm with you. I'm
I
with
think
you.
it
And
is
I like,
buffalo cauliflower.
I like buffalo
I don't think it's
cauliflower.
trying to be anything else.
If you go into it expecting wings, that's on you, man. Not
Yeah,
that's
on me and
100%
not
on
on
you.
the cauliflower.
I don't want all of the wings. I want the cauliflower part of it.
You
Like,
know
the
what
wing
they're
part would ruin it for me. So
You- of
I'm
course it
all
would
about
ruin
the
it for you.
cauliflower.
But you know what they're doing. You know what they're doing.
You know what they're trying. They're trying to be broccoli.
That's right, dude. Yeah, they're trying to be broccoli. Yeah.
Did you
right,
know
dude.
broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and at least one other vegetable that I'm forgetting all come from the same plant?
Mhm.
They're
Yeah, I
it's
did
the
hear that,
same
dude.
plant, and they all come from the same one. Like Brussels sprouts, same plant as a cauliflower. That's mind blowing right there. I think one of the
That-
leafy greens is in there as well.
I might wave the banner for that. That if they are all one team, that's the banner I'd wave because I like all those. I'm a big Brussels sprouts guy.
Brussels
Speaking
sprouts
of
grow like a
Brussels
sleigh
sprouts.
bell, like the sleigh bell instrument. That's how they grow. Is like just dangling like that.
Even better, dude.
Slave bell.
Dangle me some of those tasty boys.
Give me dangle me some of those tasty boys.
Sorry, Joe, you were saying?
Dangle.
Speaking
Can you
of-
dangle me a couple of those?
Speaking of dangling berries, you guys want to help me with a lineup decision?
Yeah, I would love to.
So I got a lot of injuries on this team. It's a dynasty league. Mike Williams is on bye and out now, so I'm taking him out of the lineup, and I have to start someone in my wide receiver or flex position. You know, let's do flex. So I'll move T. Higgins out of the flex here. I need to decide between Paris Campbell, Romeo Dobbs, Wandale Robinson, or Alec Pierce this week to start. Which of those,
Okay.
or Michael Gallup? Forgot to mention Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, Paris Campbell, Romeo Dobbs, or Wan'Dale Robinson? Which of
I'm
those?
mad at Michael
You said
Gallup.
Alec Pierce instead of Paris Campbell.
And Alec Pierce.
You have Paris Campbell and Alec Pierce. What have you done?
Yeah.
What have you done?
What have you done?
That's a very dynasty roster where like you just like you're like, okay, I'll get someone here. Like one of these guys is gonna hit, and then they all kind of hit, and you're like, and now I'm screwed.
it's
like
dynasty.
now I don't know what to do.
Dude, Michael Gallup throwing down a 0 spot this week was the curveball of all curveballs.
I came in 7th in the Baby Bowl this week, or top 10, and I had Michael Gallup in my lineup. Like I was up there, dropped a goose egg in one of those spots. I'm so mad. Like it was a
Did you
great
start
week.
Burrow and Chase?
I started Burrow. I don't think I started T. Higgins because I'd already used Chase.
Did you have,
but I had some
did
other
you have
big
Josh
plays.
Jacobs in there? Like, how'd you score so many points with a 0?
I'll let you know
You only
in a
start
second.
You only start 7 dudes in that.
Let's go over JL's team
Oh, right.
first, and then we can talk about.
Well, let's sort one part of this out first. This week, would you guys rather start Paris Campbell or Alec Pierce?
Paris Campbell.
Hard. It's
Solid targets.
Can't go away from Paris Campbell. Yeah, even with a new QB though, that's the curveball. All right, so at least today we can take him off the list. We're not trusting Michael Gallup. We can take him out.
Take him out.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Romeo Dobbs, Paris Campbell, and then there was
Wan'Dale
one more.
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh,
for me, it's
yeah.
between Campbell and Wan'Dale for me. Dubs is the odd man out right there, and for me, it's like, do you want the safety? I feel like you're going to get a little bit more safety from Paris Campbell, or do you want that upside from Wan'Dale Robinson? And
Yeah.
I'm chasing some upside
I
probably
want
because
I want 10 targets, dude.
You're going Campbell?
So that's the decision you're making, JL. I think Coop's going Campbell. Wan'Dale, I think he's going to be the lead target on his team. Like he's going to get the most targets on the Giants, but I don't feel as secure in him. But I'd go Wan'Dale Robinson.
Last 2 weeks, Paris Campbell's played every single snap except one. What's the name of your team? The Island of Misfit Toys?
It's the Labrador Receivers, actually.
That's actually a phenomenal team name.
It's backyard football themed dynasty league.
Oh, that's great, dude. Yeah, I mean, I like that you have all those guys, but having to choose, but like if that was your bench and you didn't have to start any of them, that would be a nice spot to be in. But like picking between those guys, that's a tough decision you got.
Tough choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, it could be worse. Those guys are at least popping, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're popping at the right time.
I have so many injuries.
Yeah.
I got like a dynasty league where my entire bench is like Alberto, Harrison Bryant, like it's just like all these guys. There's a Terrace Marshall sitting there, and Andy Isabella, and I'm just like I don't even know what to do with
Harrison
I don't
Bryant.
make decisions.
Harrison Bryant kind of on the up and up, though.
You're right. You're right. I don't know if we talked about David Njoku being out for 2 to 5 weeks on this show, but he is out. Goop, a little bit heartbreaking, right? He was tearing his way through the season so far.
I feel like it's like the prequels in Star Wars. You were the chosen one. You were like he was the only dude. He made it through the gauntlet of Kyle Duggar and Derwin James. Like it wasn't pretty. He only got 3 catches, but like he was getting 60 yards. Like you made it. You made it through. You know what I mean? 9 points against Derwin James. 9 points against Kyle Duggar. That's pretty nice, man. Like I was ready. He had 7 catches on 7 targets again this week. Like it was wheels up. We can't have nice things. That's what's happening this year, dude. Nothing is safe. Nothing is sacred. Mark Andrews is now hurt. Travis Kelce's on bye. Gerald Everett's on bye. Like, dude, we got nothing. My DFS 10 article this week is going to say mow the lawn or something. Like go outside. You know, like I got nothing for you for a tight end at DFS. You start Harrison Bryant. I have no idea. It's just
Taysom Hill's your tight end one this week because you don't know what else is going on. So just I don't know. Taysom Hill. Just throw him in there.
Forget it. It's crazy, man. Crazy land.
So do you think Harrison Bryant's the main beneficiary here whenever with David Njoku out? Or do you think it's gonna be one of the other pass catchers?
He's going to pick up the snaps. I don't think the snaps for anyone else is going to change. Besides the, they'll use like Farrell Brown or somebody as an extra tight end. So like Farrell Brown will play more of a blocking role. He'll step up. Yeah, maybe a little sprinkle on David Bell. I don't know, but it's not like you can trust anybody else besides Amari Cooper, right? Maybe Peoples Jones. Are you guys going there? I mean, he's had a couple games with high target counts. Donovan Peoples Jones.
Yeah, that's our friend Russ was on the show yesterday and on our fantasy football game show, and he brought up that when Njoku has been out, like we saw him last week, whenever he went down, it was DPJ who got the targets. And I see Dustin in our YouTube chat as well saying that right now, saying it's DPJ. He got the targets last week when Njoku went out. So it could be DPJ as the beneficiary.
Here are the lines for DPJ last few weeks: 5 for 71, 4 for 50, 4 for 74, 6 for 71. Pretty consistent, you know what I mean? And in PPR, every one of those weeks is between 9 and 11 points. I mean, could do worse.
Absolutely could do worse. Also, Coop, I pulled up that Baby Bowl team. I had Joe Burrow, I had Josh Jacobs and Ezekiel Elliott. I had T. Higgins, and I had David Njoku, who got me 14 points before he went down, and Michael Pittman with only 9.3. But had some big scores in there, and then Michael Gallup just laying a goose egg on it for me.
I wouldn't worry too much about the Baby Bowl since I'm going to win that league for the second year in a row.
I don't know, Coop. I'm sitting over here looking at the standings, and I don't see you anywhere near me in the standings of these things. Oh, maybe that's not the full standings, because what's your name? I don't see Coop.
My name's Coupe Fiasco. Why don't you go to Rob Norton's just pop over to Rob Norton's Twitter page real quick. He posts the standings each week because there's two different there's so many people in there that there's two different leagues, so he has to like put them together and then give the standings. So do you see the standings over there?
No, I'm not going to look at them. I just completely ignored those, the ones that you just sent over there. I like to believe that the standings I'm looking at are the ones that are correct, because
where are you in those standings? Where are you in those ones?
Just behind Britt and Kevin Tompkins. Those two are ahead.
Jaka in here asking, should I trade away Walker and Pickens for Justin Jefferson, PPR? Kenneth Walker and George Pickens for Justin Jefferson, PPR.
That's a big boy trade.
Not gonna lie, Jail. The moment you said, should I trade away Kenneth Walker, my brain said no. But once you finished the sentence, my brain is kind of saying, yeah.
I was thinking that this was PJ Walker, and I was like, yes, definitely.
Peach. Can't trade Peach, bro. It's too hot.
You wouldn't trade Peach for the J Jets?
Dude, no, you gotta keep Peach is hot. That's a hot Peach. That's a hot Peach.
Hot Peach.
You think he washes his hands after you you gotta wash your hands.
I was going the same way.
He was washing his hands for an hour after playing against the Peach. The Peach rocked him, and he was just
Peach. He had Peach all over him. The Peach got all over him, dude.
Oh no!
Peach all over that Buccaneers defense last week. Just covered.
So, what was the other player in the trade?
The other players, Kenneth Walker and George Pickens, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ever heard of him?
I say you do it. Dude. The dude who's offering you Jefferson is chasing that hype. He's chasing the hype machine. But dude, you get Justin Jefferson after he's already had his bye week.
Yeah, I'm okay with this trade. In most situations, I'm not trading away Kenneth Walker because there are a few running backs with the opportunity that he has coming up. But Justin Jefferson is that guy. He's the guy.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Like I'm not trading away Walker unless it's for a Justin Jefferson, but that's exactly what's sitting on the other side of this trade. Like,
would you guys do that for Jamar Chase? Same deal?
No. I don't know. I mean,
I trust Jefferson.
It's kind of a cop out, but Jefferson gets to play an extra game than Jamar Chase does.
That's true. That is a cop out.
I think I'd still do it.
That's like that new Corona commercial with Snoop and Andy Samberg. I actually like the new one. I actually like the new one.
He's like, that's pretty
terrible.
Good.
Yeah.
But it sucked.
Yeah, like it's that you got me there, dude. That is a good commercial. But yeah,
how is Snoop Dogg? I don't care how much he sells out, he never feels like a sellout. Like no matter like
it's impossible to sell out.
A Hot Pocket music video with Kate Upton. He does Corona commercials. He's like the guest judge on The Voice, and I'm like, Snoop's just being Snoop. Like he's just so cool. He can't sell out even when he tries.
The thing is, he's like, he's got if you go back, he's got a pretty bad history. Like not to steal a joke. I forget who. Anthony Jeselnik. You know the comedian Anthony Jeselnik. He at a roast. He was like at this roast here. He's like talking to like the whole stage. He's like up on stage here. He's like, we got a drug dealer, a pimp, a murderer, and that's just Snoop Dogg. Like,
The dude is untarnishable. His image, it seems like.
he like
Hot
he,
Pockets. Look up the Hot
was-
Pockets music video if you don't remember it. It's absolutely hilarious that Snoop Dogg did that.
he was credibly accused of murder.
Also, Dustin in here saying DPJ is a solid flex. So we kind of ended that DPJ, but do you guys think he is flexible? We ended that conversation a little bit before we gave a final judgment call.
Yeah, and where again, it always depends on the format, of course, but I think so. This week especially, targets.
Yeah.
He won't get you a 0. That's for sure. 0 incoming, just because I said that. But
Yeah.
like,
As soon
he
as you
did
say
give you a
that.
0 week 2. I'm not gonna lie. So it's
So
again,
can't
Yeah, it'd be
happen.
interesting with Sean Watson coming back too, seeing who's going to shake out as the number 2 on this team, the number 2 wide receiver. So there's
Hal with
value
the-
there. DPJ
Hal asking us DPJ over Dubs.
this week.
that's a question for Nando.
Yeah,
That's
this
a
week.
question of Nando and Corey. 3 p.m.
Rest of
For
season, he says. Rest of season,
Rest of
DPJ or
season.
Dobbs.
I'd rather. I wish you didn't just say Deshaun Watson's name. 'Cause
I
then
know.
then I could have easily ignored it in my mind.
Yeah.
Now I cannot.
No, it's hard.
Give me
Yeah.
Like, what if
DPJ.
this doesn't turn out for Romeo Dobbs?
Stick with DPJ because it's still out there. Like you think about the Packers, if a team's going to trade for a wide receiver or if a team's going to pay for Odell Beckham Jr., the Packers are on every single list when teams are like, what team should he go to? But you know what I mean? Like, so that's always within the range of outcomes. You don't want to get Michael Cartered.
DPJ has been pretty efficient. Is the only thing, which he always is, right? That's what DPJ does.
Except for a couple weeks there where he was.
It's either nothing or it's everything for DPJ. I feel like.
We had a question in here from
between him and Amari Cooper. They're real good at that.
Yeah, yeah.
Amari Cooper, I feel like he's getting the rap. He's fairly consistent. He's a consistent dude, right?
What are you
Now,
talking about, dude?
this year he's been semi-consistent.
Going back to his
I mean,
entire career, he's been that exact dude that can
But
get you
that's-
a
yeah.
0 at any time.
historically, Amari Cooper has not been that consistent.
I feel like he was that on the Raiders, but as soon as he went to the Cowboys, he was consistent. Like I feel like let's look at the numbers. Like I feel like this is a
Ken,
false narrative
up.
about Amari
Yeah,
Cooper.
pull it up,
I'll
dude.
pull it up
Last
right
year
now.
against the Giants, he had 2 catches for 8 yards. Against Arizona, he had 3 catches for 18 yards. Against Denver, he had 2 catches for 37. Against Chargers, he had 3 catches for 24. Like, look at this. He comes out week 1 last year. He has 17 targets, 13 catches for 139 and 2 touchdowns. The following week, he catches 3 for 24. That is to me is like what Amari Cooper does.
I hear what you're
pulling up his
saying. I'm
numbers to
curious
see
on a
10
more
years
like
to log in.
I'm curious on a more macro
We-
scale, like what
we-
percentage of the time he's a wide receiver 2 or better, and how that
Oh,
compares
yeah.
to
The
other
week-
receivers.
the week-
I'm
the
looking
year-
at that right now. I'm pulling that
The
up.
year
so I have
before
it
that,
here.
let me throw it. The year before that comes out, has 16 targets, 12 receptions for 134 yards and a touchdown against Cleveland. Very next week, he comes out, has 2 catches for 23 yards. Like that is like I know, like you look at the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, but he is like the quintessential rug pull dude that comes out and like he can't just get like why can't he just get 5 catches in the bad games instead of 1?
So we can't pull it up on screen, but since 2019, I went back from 2019 to 2022. I'm using RotoViz, and I sent it to you guys in the chat so you can, or the Coop and Simon, you guys can see it. Through 2019, he's been a wide receiver 1, 19% of games, wide receiver 2, 26% of games, wide receiver 3 or worse, 56% of games. And if you look at I know the audience can't see this graph, but if you look at the graph, it's fairly up and down.
I want to know what percentage of games he has under like 30 receiving yards. Because like when you're a wide receiver 3, sometimes you score like, 8-9 points, dude. Like this dude
I
against
think
San
I can look
Francisco
at
that year,
receiving yards for you.
2 for 10, 1 for 5. Those are the weeks I'm talking about. Like
All right, I'll
I get
send
what
you
you're
the
saying.
receiving
And
yards.
I
chart
will
here.
I will concede. I thought he had been more consistent than that, especially with the Cowboys during his years there.
when he's so good, right? When he's good,
But
he's so good.
It feels like he goes on these streaks, Simon, where I think you're like, I don't think you're wrong to feel that way. I think it's just like a macro versus micro thing where like,
Yeah.
he does go on these streaks where he is very like fairly consistent, and it looks like he's going to be great. And then for some reason, it's just
You know what it
drops
is?
off.
It's like he has the big game, and then he just kills you the second game. If he would just not have these big games and just like keep cruising through consistently, it's almost like a on schedule where he plays well, then he has one monster game, and the next game he comes out and he's like banged up and he does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Amari Cooper is tricky, man. He's very tricky.
He's good though.
This is
the
first year I didn't draft him heavily because I was scared of that Browns offense. I was just out. I was out on Amari Cooper, but
and it's like kind of working now.
He's still good. Yeah, he's still good at football, right? Like it didn't change.
I'm a defender of Amari Cooper, but like that's been his MO, the killer week. Mike Evans does it too.
So just this season. So I just told you guys the numbers for since 2019 to 2022. That's the span there. In just 2022, he's been a wide receiver 2 57% of the time and a wide receiver 3 or worse 43% of the time. It's fairly more consistent, just less upside. He hasn't been a wide receiver 1 this season yet.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. He had 2 touchdowns one week. He had 2 touchdowns on the Thursday game against the Steelers. He wasn't a wide receiver 1 that week.
He was a wide receiver against the Steelers. Yeah, wide receiver 2.
Must have been a big week.
23.1 PPR points.
And there are a lot of weeks where that's a wide receiver 1 week, I feel.
For sure. And the week before he got 25.1 and was still a wide receiver 2. And week 5, he was a 20.6 and wide receiver 2 as well.
Guys, we could talk Amari Cooper till the cows come home, but we have some questions in the chat that I wanted to make sure we got to. Z Money in here saying my running backs are Mixon, Walker, Pierce, and Singletary. I can only start 2. Michael Carter is on waivers. Should I pick him up? So wondering with the running back core he has, Mixon, Walker, Pierce, Singletary, should he even pick up Michael Carter?
Not if you have to drop anything significant. Like,
because
you're not going to
don't drop any of those guys. I wouldn't drop any of those guys, but I do want to pick up Michael Carter.
I would pick him up if you can drop like if you have a bunch of wide receivers that you're not using, drop one of those guys. But yeah, I wouldn't drop any of those guys for him.
Would any of you drop Singletary? Either of you?
No, absolutely not. Singletary should not be dropped.
Right. So Singletary to me is probably your worst running back right now, and I'm not dropping him either. So I agree with Coop completely. If you can find someone else to drop to get Michael Carter, I would do it. Otherwise, no.
Right on.
Dustin wanted us to pick one, James Robinson or Michael Carter. So the 2 Jets backs going against each other. Coop, which one are you picking?
My official stance on this is that I would only prefer James Carter in standard leagues.
James Carter.
In any
Who's
sort,
James Carter.
I would only prefer James Robinson in standard leagues. In any sort of PPR, I want Michael Carter. I think that pass blocking schemes can be tough. I think Michael Carter's a better pass catching back anyway. And James Carter's got like 20 pounds on Michael Carter. So he's probably the goal line back. Give me the pass catching back.
Wait, did you go? You went. Oh,
I would Michael
James Conner standard only.
Standard only James Conner in any sort. Sorry, James Robinson in any sort of. Hey, Aaron Rodgers sitting there like he's flipping over a new page of mental mistakes now after.
Yeah, he's erasing the board.
Yeah, the James Robinson in standard in any sort of PPR, I'd prefer Michael Carter.
Okay, I was just saying Michael Carter had 10 pounds on James Robinson. But isn't Michael Carter a little guy?
James Robinson has 20 pounds on Michael Carter.
20 pounds, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I would go. Oof, it's pretty even. I think I would go James Robinson though. This week I would go Michael Carter.
The Jets line, they lost Mekhi Becton before the season. They just lost Elijah Vera Tucker for the rest of this season too. So the Jets line is they're in trouble.
Also, guys, if you want to see the Amari Cooper chart that JL was talking about, looks like it's over there on the Twitter. You can check that out, or maybe not. Maybe it's not over there on the Twitter. We'll let you know. But you can check it out over there. And I see Hallen here saying about Amari Cooper that he's Robert Woods is what he's saying. I don't know if I like that comparison. I think Robert Woods has been a little bit more consistent as well. Or maybe I just am an optimist when I look at these wide receivers that have the big weeks for me. But I did not know. We had another question in here. Weather wanted to know, what are your guys' opinions on Michael Thomas? So Michael Thomas, a lot of people don't know what's up, Weather. I mean, sometimes. Recently, I've not been. Yeah, sometimes you're really a dick, Weather, when it's like October and all of a sudden it's 94 degrees outside. Like, get it together. That's preposterous. Sorry, weather.
We don't
I
have
didn't
that
even take
problem
It was lovely yesterday. Thank you so much for your work. It's been great
Thank you for that.
recently.
Sounds like a San Antonio problem.
It is. Coop, what are you doing with Michael Thomas?
I think he's awesome when he's healthy, which is never. So,
Which is never.
So I just have him sitting there on my bench until I inevitably come in like 8th place in my league. That's what my plan is. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I think that's probably the move. Is I have a hard time dropping him, so he's going to sit there and clog up that roster until he's back. And when he's back, I'm starting him.
You want me to lie about what I'm doing? Because that's what I'm doing, dude. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So
Guys,
join me.
Joining us right now, we have a guest host coming up to lead a game that we all love, and we call the match game. Maria is coming back on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show to lead us through this beautiful game on a now Wednesday morning. I apologize to anyone I threw off yesterday calling it Wednesday. Maria, what's up?
Good
Thank you so much for coming on.
How's it going?
Good.
Never been better.
Excited to play some match game.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah,
Let's
thanks
do
for
it.
rushing into work to facilitate this game.
I
Safely.
sped.
Yeah, safely.
No, just kidding. I didn't speed because it was bumper to bumper traffic. So I
You
Maria, you
maneuvered.
wanna,
You maneuvered your way in.
Yeah.
just
All
pit
right.
maneuvers the entire way there, driving in the emergency lane. Like, I
Pit
got
maneuvers?
someplace to be.
Just
I don't know
wrecking
what
people
racing
out of-
terms.
it's my game to host.
You know what a pit maneuver is, Simon?
Nope, no idea.
Pit maneuver is
even-
when you go up behind a car and you clip the back of it so that it spins out.
Okay, that would clear the way pretty well, right?
That would clear the way, but you'd cause maybe a backup.
Yeah, back up behind.
But yeah.
No,
Exactly. That's smart.
Maria, you want to
All right,
explain this game to
let's
us?
start
Let us know
this
how it
first.
works.
Paper and pencil.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. I have asked a series of questions to different people in the fantasy community, and you are going to try to match their answer. For
All right.
every match you get a point. And we will see who has the most points at the end of 5 rounds.
It's gonna be me.
I love Simon's like, yeah, we have paper. Do
I
you have
think
paper?
that
We
you
have
and
paper.
Coop have tied before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think-
think Coop and I are each have a win, I think. I don't know if anybody else won. Do we only play twice? No.
I think we've only played twice.
Oh.
I think
Simon trying to get his first win.
I think you have a win, and then we each have a tie. Maybe.
Oh.
I think the score is
that makes
1.5 to 0.5 to 0. Maybe.
But yeah, that half point.
Pretty strong. Makes me better than Simon. So, I'm like the Texans after week 1.
I see. I think Texas after week 1. I see these questions in the chat. We're gonna hit these very shortly here after our game of match game here. Quick round of match game.
All right. Well, your first question, gentlemen, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being terrible and 5 being awesome. Oh, I meant to say that this question was answered by Z2 Fantasy.
Ooh, Z2.
Z2.
Is that
Okay.
a cash?
Toby. No,
No,
it's
it's
Toby.
Z2.
Oh, Z2.
Different
okay.
guy.
Sorry.
No,
On a
you're
scale
good.
of 1 to 5, 1 is being terrible and 5 is being awesome. Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football is.
Ooh.
What would you
Yeah.
give? What do you think he gave Amazon Prime?
And this
Thursday.
came from Z2. Toby, our good buddy Z2.
I do not feel confident at all in this one, but I've got an answer.
Ready.
You ready, JL?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, reveal. 4, 2, and 2.
Double twos.
Who else put 2?
Coop.
Coop put 2. I don't know. He
Coop
just didn't
put
strike
2.
me as an Amazon Prime lover. I would have made it a 5 without a doubt. I've really enjoyed Amazon Prime
Really?
Thursday Night Football. It's just the smoothest streaming experience for me out of all of them, where there's never any issues. Like, it just works.
Oh,
You are a
product is
notorious
garbage.
Simon. You are a notorious cord cutter, though, are you not?
Yeah, I have no cable, nothing.
Right.
So, that is a step up from these illegal.
illegal. The inside.
Wow,
well,
this is
but
so
Simon, I'm
nice.
with you though, because I do like Prime when you compare it to other cord cutting options. But people that have cable probably hate it. You know.
Yeah, that
Here's
makes
my
sense.
issue with Prime is it's a garbage app.
It is.
which makes it terrible to use.
The Prime
Like,
Video,
trying
the Prime
to
Video UI
pause or
is
go
a
back.
disaster.
Yeah, it's truly the worst out of all of them.
So
Anyway.
So we're guessing if Toby has cable or not. Me and Simon guessing that he does not, and JL guessed that he does. What was his answer?
No, we guessed
His
that he
answer
does.
was
Yes!
We guessed that he does. Yeah.
He's got
And
cable.
he
We guessed that he
also had
does.
some reasoning. Get in the game got it. He said bring it back to NFL Network, but it's football, so it can't be a 1. That was his reasoning.
Hey,
That's pretty good reasoning.
That
I
is pretty
respect
good
that.
reasoning.
I respect that a
Toby.
lot. We had Dustin guessed 4, Jay guessed 3 in the chat. She's good, and Tommy guessed 2 in the chat. Well done, Tommy. Good reminder. Play along in the chat. We love it when you play along with our games.
Yeah.
All right,
right.
what's the next one? You can come
So
back.
this one was actually I asked Dustin.
Dustin.
Dustin
Hey,
in the chat. He
He
teased us
did.
a little bit with us yesterday.
Oh, you did?
He just told us I answered
just
one
told
for
us that
tomorrow,
he
so he
answered
was
one.
excited. Yeah.
Taysom Hill is a blank.
All right, I got mine.
With no other context?
Nope.
That's it.
Taysom Hill is a blank.
Easiest one yet.
Yeah, so easy.
Well, maybe not. But maybe not.
I'm
To
trying
get
to
in the
put
mind of
myself. I'm trying to like put myself in Dustin's like brain and say a sentence that he would say, and I can't quite get it. Okay, this is what I'm got. I
Better
got
Boss
it.
said God of touchdowns.
And Jason, good
Weren't
thing
they
you didn't
bo- they
ask
both
Simon
green
this.
fingers?
We'd be kicked off better if you would have asked me this question.
What do you
I
have
will say
said?
his answer is appropriate. So if you wrote down an inappropriate answer, go ahead and erase.
The
Okay.
answer
I'm ready.
I wrote down. I'm never sure if it's appropriate to say, but it's always hilarious.
It's always
Okay.
hilarious. All right, I'm ready.
All right.
Tight end.
Tight end, hog, nerd.
No way, it's nerd.
I had hog and then I erased it for tight end because I thought it was funnier.
Hog wagon was also by Tommy in the chat.
Yeah, see Tommy.
Oh, I
Tommy's,
thought Tommy
Tommy's
guessed-
thinking the way I am.
I thought
Tommy's
Tommy
thinking with
guessed
hogs.
bingo, but he just said bingo for the
Bingo.
explanation of the last
Taysom Hill is a
one.
bingo.
Well, what Dustin said is a
Gimmick.
Gimmick.
That's
Gimmick.
very true.
Oh,
That's exactly right, though. That's exactly right.
Ain't a chance in hell. I would
100%
have
correct.
known how to spell the.
But he's definitely a hog, dude. And he's
Total
also a
hog.
nerd. I think all the answers are correct. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of trying to get with
Yeah.
Simon.
He's
Good.
also a tight end.
He's also the Greek god of touchdowns.
He's also the Greek god of touchdowns.
He
So the
is.
score is Coop 1, Simon 1, me 0.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say. All right. Next up. I asked this one to at between _ Seth FF. Love
Yes.
him.
Love Seth.
I asked him to fill in this blank. Play blank. Keeping it fantasy / football related. Play blank. So you just finish that.
This could go multiple different directions, even within the fantasy context. I'm trying to. Okay, Seth
So like I
Wilcock.
gave him an
He's from.
example and I was like, if you got like first blank, you could say like first aid, first grade, things like
First
that.
down.
First down.
I got mine.
First
got mine.
touchdown
Just-
scorer, Damian Harris. Okay, now I'm gonna try to throw this in here.
Ooh.
Play
I like Better Boss in the chat said ER. Player.
Ooh.
I like that.
fancy. Play
Clever. Clever.
hog. hog.
Playmaker.
Okay,
See?
I got mine, and I'm feeling.
I got
I
mine too.
actually feel oddly confident about this for some reason now.
All right. All right. Play book. Play action. Play call.
Ooh, play action is a good one too. Play call. Thought about that one too.
Sorry, actually, this is my answer.
Play hog.
Play hog.
All right. Well, one of you got very close. Seth said
Play caller.
play call.
Oh, I was so close.
Oh.
Does he not get that one? Because I would be arguing to the
I
death.
feel like we should give
No.
points, but no.
No,
I would
it's
also
a different
say
thing.
no. I
A
said
play
a
call
different
and a
thing.
play caller.
I said a
Okay,
different
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Look at you guys, sticklers for the rules. I would have given it to you. I would have
Simon and I
definitely.
are-
So I
Simon
am
and I are
a-
very in sync on game mechanics type stuff.
No,
like
I
we
usually
think about it in
think-
the same way.
I'll tell you right now, I'd be kicking and screaming and shutting the show down.
And it wouldn't matter. It would not matter a wink.
Dude, I would have gone full Elijah Moore on y'all. I'd have been. I would have headset would be off.
I would have met your Elijah Moore with Antonio Brown.
No, that's.
And I would have went Antonio Brown on you. Shirt off. I'm off the stream.
I would have been Andre Johnson. I would have been Andre Johnson on you, dude. I would have been, pulled your helmet off. Started some Cortland Finnegan. Yeah.
How deep can we go with this?
Wait, and then how many times are we going to bring up Cortland Finnegan on this show? Remember, he was the guy whose middle name was Temujin, the name of Genghis Khan. Like we just keep talking about this.
He came up another time when someone brought up Sideshow Bob from Simpsons.
Also, Dustin and you're cracking me up. Said 2-hog action. Coop's answer sheet sounds like an audible. 2-hog action. 2-hog action. What?
Sounds like something, yeah, disgusting. Like the John Gruden broadcast. He's like, yeah, this is a classic play. I called Bruce Gradkowski last night, and I said, what do you think about them running the 2-hog action out of 2 wide receiver sets? And we talked for 75 minutes about that.
75.
I think you said that exact thing. I'm pretty sure, Coop. That's a direct quote.
All right, do we got another prompt?
We have another one. Right? This one was not answered by anyone in the fantasy community, actually. This one, I asked my best friend, Vanessa.
Ooh, Vanessa.
The best Halloween candy. The best Halloween candy is.
All right, if you had to describe Vanessa, the type of, without describing her tastes at all, what type of person is she? And what did she mean to you?
Honduran.
I like this version of Match Game.
Is that true?
That is
She is Honduran. She is. I don't know if
that's scribble out this answer.
Candy choices.
Just you know what? Even if it doesn't affect the candy choices, don't even describe her in the sense of candy. Let's just give.
Coop, let me give you a little bit of what I know from a very limited perspective.
Loud.
I didn't know her, and she went mad trash talk in a group chat towards me, never having met. Like she is saved in my phone as Vanessa top tier shit talker is what her name is in my phone, because she just she humiliated me in a group chat. So I saved her name as that, screenshotted it, and sent it back. That's my interaction with her.
So I like her, and we probably like similar candies.
Very simply the best human.
Vanessa is top tier friend. Top
tier human being.
We did a candy draft on Monday on the Fantasy Besties. It got a little heated, but give me a good idea of what might be towards the top of this list.
I have an answer, but I got no fire behind it.
Okay.
I get some answers in the chat. We ready to show?
Yeah.
Twizzlers, Reese's.
Dulce de leche.
Dulce de leche.
The sweetest of candies.
The sweetest bit of hair in that mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to Simon. You need to flip your hair when you say dulce de leche.
Dulce de leche.
All right, one of you again got super close.
Oh,
it's Red Vines. If it's Red Vines, I'm gonna jump off a cliff.
Is it Reese's Pieces?
Reese's Pumpkins.
Dude, okay. So in our draft, they're not. Those are the same things as the ones that they do for the Easter eggs, dude. Like they just put them in a different package.
Yeah, it's just a different shape.
They're all the same. They're all peanut butter and chocolate.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that you guys are not gonna give Coop the points.
No one in their right mind. Imagine if I guessed Reese's Pumpkins and you guys are like, "What are you, an idiot?" The answer is Reese's. Why would she pick a specific type of Reese's? Like
Halloween.
I feel like we give Coop the point. Come on.
No, the rules are the rules. If Simon doesn't get play caller, I appreciate you, and never appease terrorists like that. This is America. We do not give in to terrorism.
Oh my God. Coop, I love your breakdown though. You were like, you know what? This girl probably thinks like me. Sounds like my kind of person. I'm gonna go with my favorite candy.
I was like, I love being mean to Simon. What would get me most amped up to be mean to Simon? And I was so close. The answer really, truly is Reese's Pumpkins.
You did a great job.
They do taste better. The thing is, the reason I can't give myself the point is that the Reese's Pumpkins and the Reese's eggs do taste better than the cups.
They do.
You're not wrong. chocolate?
Different.
It's the layout of the chocolate. Like the cups have like the thick chocolate on the edges, whereas the eggs and the pumpkins it's more evenly distributed. I don't know what it is, dude, but
Tommy said candy corn. We got some
She's
other
right.
guesses here in the chat. Hal said
Disgusting.
Snickers, and then Hal asked, "Where the hell do you trick or treat, JL?" Honduras.
Tommy,
Easily.
exquisite mouthfeel.
Ugh.
That's Tommy. Are you a bourbon drinker? Because that's a classic bourbon saying. Like,
he's a bourbon drinker. I feel like I can answer that. Yeah, he said yes. So
Tommy,
quickly.
Tommy, you and I have to talk bourbon. I got a decent collection.
You guys keep it going in your group, in your little text thread.
And JL, we'll talk something that doesn't taste like garbage.
Looks like the chat wants to talk.
Enjoy drinking.
Looks like the chat wants to talk bourbon, JL. Let's pivot.
Sours. It's the chat being Hal.
No,
The one other
Hal
person
and
that
Tommy.
came in and said love bourbon. The Coop's like, I guess the chat has spoken.
I guess the chat is on my team. There's three of us now.
So we got 1-1 still, and we got one more prompt.
I was gonna say you could have 2 more points in there, but we're still 1-1 to 0.
Yes.
Okay, so this is your last one. Although I do have one more if we really need one more. This one I want to preface, of course, by saying it was answered by Tim, our own Tim Wright.
Tim Wright of Front Yard Fantasy. For those of you that do not know, he's a Front Yard Fantasy guy, and he's chaos incarnate.
Exactly. So please keep that in mind as you answer the following question. The maximum amount of leagues that you should be in is the maximum amount of leagues.
Who is this that answered this one?
It's Tim Wright. Have you met Tim?
Yeah, I have met Tim, dude. Tim's amazing, but like trying to guess what Tim is thinking, impossible.
You have to really think.
Imagine Gardner Minshew mixed with Antonio Brown.
Yeah. He looks like Gardner Minshew with the mentality of Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Nah, he is way more level than Antonio Brown. It is calculated.
Yeah, for sure.
I love having like when we do like next time we do a bracket that's like a nonsense bracket, like if we're ranking like movies or cartoon characters, I want Tim Wright on because he's the best for those. He's the best for those because he says he thinks way outside the box, and you need that for those, right?
Oh my God. The fact that Tim answered this has got me so in my head.
I know. I'm sitting here. I've like started writing out like 7 different things. Like I'm just trying to figure out what would he say.
I'm just going.
I feel like I've got you guys all worked up, and then it would be really funny if his answer was just like 1.
Yeah,
it probably would. I wouldn't put it past him, dude.
When you think he's going to zig, he zags.
Okay, I've got my answer.
I got mine too.
My pen. I have my answer, but my pen died.
Excuses.
I fixed it. I get this fountain pen, but it just tears holes in my paper. Because I don't know how to use it right.
You ready?
I'm right.
The maximum amount of leagues that you should be in. Is that a 0?
This is 0.
Wait, I was
35.
censoring. I'm censoring mine, but
oh, like 35. What's Simon's? It's frozen for me.
Mine says
F. I don't know. 20.
I don't know.
No, it's but specifically I wrote F. I don't know, 20. That's what I pictured Tim saying.
That's what
whenever he
Tim would
asked.
say. Yeah. I originally had 10, then I had 20, then I went with straight vibing.
I like that thought. I really like the one in the chat. As many as you can manage. One more.
One more.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, being Tim, said, as many as your heart desires, plus 2.
Damn, I had that written down, but I crossed it out.
Damn it, Tim. And as soon as you said it, of course that's the answer.
That's
like without
100%.
a doubt in my mind.
So do I get a
the
point?
Answer.
You know what's crazy though? You know what the crazy part about that answer though? Is that I feel like that's exactly how many leagues I'm in. Like I really am in 2 more leagues than I should. If I was just in 2 fewer leagues, I wouldn't feel overwhelmed. So I think Tim is exactly right there.
Called him out by name. Which 2 are you dropping?
So it's another tie.
Yeah, well done.
I could call it
Well
out.
done.
Coop.
Coop and Simon. Simon getting your first tie.
Great job, Coop. We really did a
Great
great job there, me and you, the 2 of us.
Must have
Just
one win.
nailed it.
You made my win whole.
Also, Hal said as many as you can manage. And then he says, I feel like I was close. And Tommy said, agreed. You get the points. Tommy, have you been watching this show at all? Coop said Reese's instead of Reese's
Man,
Pumpkins if we didn't give him a point. Hal,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. We got a higher standard for points here, and you just didn't quite hit the
Yeah.
bar.
Ain't no
Great
half
guess.
points out here.
It's not enough, man.
You gotta
Come
walk
back this
off.
time.
You gotta walk off the set if you want those points, bro.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, for hosting another game.
Of
You gotta
course.
smash that fun button for
Hit
Maria.
that fun button.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
want to play some match game,
Go.
let us know. Let us know. We'll have Maria send you a prompt.
We'll
Yeah,
get you in.
exactly. Yeah, let me know. I wanna do more. So
Yeah, either way you want to play. If you want to answer the prompts, do that. If you want to call in, do that too. You can have my
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
I quit. I quit forever.
All right.
over the Reese's incident.
Yeah.
The Reese's play caller incident is what it will be referred to.
all right,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
show.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you,
rest of
Maria.
your day. Good luck at
See
work.
you next time.
Adios.
See ya on another time.
See you
Guys, did you
another
wanna-
time.
Coop, truly, it's always a pleasure working with you there. I really enjoy it. We had a bunch of questions come in here over the break. Did we want to hit some of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hit one
Live off
question
football.
real quick. The question I wanted to, or the first question that came in was from Tyson. He wanted to know how much of our fab should we be putting on Chuba Hubbard?
Assuming
About-
Donta Foreman already got picked up.
Yeah, I'd be putting around probably 10%. I mean, it's a waiver, like these waiver questions are always a little, there's not really a right answer, right? It's going to depend on your league. You got to know how your league uses the waiver wire, what they're, how aggressive they are on the waiver wire, how much you need, right? How much your team needs a running back. So there's a lot of factors that go in there, but
So they
I'll
have
say
Foreman already, Tyson's saying. There's another factor for you. They've already got Foreman on their team.
But he has an open roster spot. I'd be spending probably 5 to 10%.
I'm not even sure I would do that. Like, I just don't like if you've got Foreman, I guess in case there's an injury, but what's the upside even if Chuba Hubbard takes over as the lead back? Like we saw it last year. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't fantasy startable. So I'm
When he started,
you weren't happy ever with Chuba Hubbard in your lineup, I feel like last year.
I think I had to start him in a couple weeks because I had CMC. He
But
had a solid run of like 15-point games. It wasn't anything crazy. And then CMC didn't come back. And then it tailed off later on in the year. There are a couple games in there that he made it work.
Just don't forget that like the last update we got was that we'll evaluate and get back to you guys on Wednesday with his ankle. So today is kind of when we find out whether his ankle's okay or not. Like if he's a full participant in practice today, I'm much more interested in having him than if he's limited or not practicing at all. So that's just one more caveat. But if he is healthy, I'm kind of with jail. I think I would at this point in the season, man. You can't even find running backs that are splitting, let alone have an opportunity to start. So I think I'm throwing at least 5 at him. I'm gonna give it a college try with a 5%. And if you don't get him, then you can say at least I tried.
Yeah. Also, Hallen here saying Chuba played at the start and Foreman cleaned up in a winning game script. How often will they be winning?
Never.
So that's
Tyson says important caveat. Does it change your opinion, Simon, if he has a straight up open roster spot right now?
Yeah.
Say he
Go
can
for
move
him.
someone to IR. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it
changes
gets rid
for
of
me
some
too.
of that.
Worst
You're
case,
gonna go
put
there.
something down. Just put in a waiver claim, right? If nothing else, put in a $0 waiver claim.
Cover your back. Yeah, exactly. $0 claim. Then you're covered. Then you can at least say that you did something.
Also, Hal saying, hold up, I wasn't trolling for points. I just wanted to be in the same category as the answer. I'm just messing with you anyways, Hal. I mean, you don't get the point. You don't get the point still, but I am just messing with you. But just for the record, no point.
As you can tell, Hal, we take this very seriously.
Very seriously. Luce is asking, morning all, would you go with Dulcich, Evan Ingram, or Pitts this weekend? Mr. Tight and Tinkler, what do you think?
The answer is Evan Ingram. If you look at
MF and Ingram.
Look at the last 3 games. The tight end that has the most targets, his name is Travis Kelce, the guy that you would expect to have the most targets. You look at 2, the second most targets, it's a tie between 2 amazing players. George Kittle, who is back, and Evan Ingram.
What?
23 targets. Yep. After that, you get into guys like Zach Ertz has 22. And I also, for all you sticklers that say, oh, what about the guys on bye week? I looked at guys on bye week too. You jerks. The best one is Dallas Goedert, who has 14 over that 2-game span. That's 7 targets a game, which is 21, which would put him beneath Evan Ingram on that list. So Evan Ingram. Started.
Evan Ingram. What about you, Simon?
It's Ingram for me as well. It sucks if you have Pitts and you're deciding not to play him, but I think that's where we're at in this season. Ingram is the more reliable start.
They threw 13 times, bro. They threw 13 times and they're playing the Panthers. And like there was like a top post on Reddit yesterday that was like the Falcons are literally running a 1946 offense or something like that. It
was
crazy,
like they were pulling up stats and they're like, this is legitimately from the 40s what they're doing here.
I tweeted it. Kyle Pitts this week had a 38% target share. He got like 40% of the targets, but when you throw 13 times, that's 5. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Can't do much with it. You just got to hold on to him.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, it really does suck.
Don't
Another question here from Jeb asking, should I trade Chris Godwin and Michael Thomas for Mike Evans? No.
Nope.
Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are so similar.
In any given game,
do anything for you.
It's matchup dependent between those two because Mike Evans gets taken away sometimes, and then Godwin has the games.
Yeah. And then Andrew asking, should I trade Najee Harris and Olave for Debo and James Conner?
Harris and Olave for Debo and Connor. Najee Harris and Olave for Debo Samuel and James Conner. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah, I would rather have Debo than Olave, and I think James Conner and Najee are pretty even.
I'd rather have Najee than James Conner, but you're right. It's not that far apart.
It's
not as far apart as Debo is to Olave.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thought process as well.
James Conner was fully healthy.
I still think it's semi-fair.
James Conner was fully healthy. Would you have him that far off from Najee?
Say that again, Coop.
If James Conner was fully healthy, I mean, like, would you still rank Najee ahead? Like, what is Najee doing that James Conner isn't doing?
Fantasy points. Najee's like RB2. He's like a very, very consistent RB2 so far this season.
But like James, I mean, as far as like yards and receptions and stuff, James Conner's kind of right there. The only difference is like a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would rather have Najee, but it's very close. So the big difference in the wide receiver more than makes up for it. Guys, I see more of these questions in the chat. We are going to keep answering these right after this break. So make sure you stick around. We're going to answer all of these questions. Also coming up later, we've got our friend Calvin Watkins joining the show. So make sure you're sticking around for that. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Surely, kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah, they're always readily available too. It seems like, you know what I mean. Like they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? That's right.
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano.
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere, just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just at the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this.
I have an amazing kicker story. If you guys have a second,
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me in the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. Like, this guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. It's in the game.
Sports Network.
That was a good growl, Coop. Let me hear that one again.
This is this is a serious show. You better not like pumpkin Reese.
You sound like my new neighbor's dog. My new neighbor's dog, they just moved in. He is mean, man. Like my dog, I put him outside, and that
dog or the neighbor?
No, the dog. I've never met the neighbor, but the dog just sits in the yard and like is not playful barking or growling. It's like tail stiff, and he is just trying to get through that fence. And my dog, like, he is scary. And that growl, Coop, sent me back to like the walk yesterday where he was like coming at us. He was ready.
But then you find out the dog's name is like Muffin.
Oh, absolutely.
Muffin.
Yeah, he's a cutie patootie though. He's so cute. I bet maybe he's a good boy and he just wants to come play and he looks scary. That's probably
you guys both have
what's
dogs,
going
right?
on.
Well, I know Simon does. Scoop, you have a dog, right?
I have a dog, yeah. My dog's
You guys ever
weird.
found a tick on your dog?
Yes.
Yes.
Found one yesterday on Rosie.
I hate it.
Gotta
Grosses
get
me
real,
out.
makes you feel real protective.
Yeah, real protect. That's exactly
Get
what I
off.
felt. I
You
was like,
immediately
I'm
start
gonna go
Googling,
punch
like-
every tick in the world.
I start Googling I almost said Terminators, exterminators. I start Googling exterminators, like how do I get rid of ticks in the yard? How do I kill every tick on planet Earth?
1.5 acre yard. Yeah.
I get an odd satisfaction out of putting it in a little bag and then knowing that it's just gonna die.
Jeez,
Is that messed up?
That's evil. That's a
Isn't it?
little
I'm
bit.
like, you mess with my dog, you get to suffocate in the Ziploc.
God, bro. Jail's just sitting there all morning looking at a Ziploc like, ha, 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 ha.
Just
He's got a
watching it.
collection of them. Jail has a collection in his drawer of all the ticks that have messed with Rosie.
All the dead ticks.
They're all
Well,
labeled.
there's one gallon bag with a bird in it as well. For the one time that a bird came down and pecked at her, he had to get the big Ziploc bag to fit that in there.
Yeah, dude, settle down, Dahmer.
Don't mess with my dog, bro.
Somebody says, "I'll be back." You little
F you
tick."
Yeah.
We had some
Lord,
questions come in the chat. Though we can just keep talking about ticks if you guys want. Let us know. But there was a question in here.
TikTok.
Tyson said for the tight end god, start Hurst or Waller this week. Side note, I have Devontae Adams and have to start Carr due to bye week. So they're starting Carr already. They're also starting Adams. You starting Hurst or Waller, tight end god?
Well, since you asked me, I will go with Waller because Waller, that smile is just undeniable. I mean, how can you not?
Now, what about the tight end?
You kind of rhymed in it. You kind of rhymed in everything and threw down the smile there. I mean, that analysis can't be beat. Like,
Call me a tight end god for
the
nothing.
smile, undeniable.
You just like are you like the god of suave or something? Like as soon as you turn into a god,
Dimple comes out.
Dimple comes out a little bit charming, like winking at you, but it's not creepy.
He goes, I murdered a creature in a bag today.
I watched the tick die this morning.
I slowly watched the tick suffocate this morning. Start walling.
And I enjoyed it every second.
Now, my thing on Hayden Hurst is that he's find me a more boring player in fantasy football than a guy who, when you sit down and rank the pass catchers on the team, you get all the way through Chase, Higgins, Tyler Boyd before you can even start to consider Hayden Hurst. And Joe Mixon has just as many targets as him. So he's basically the fifth target on his team. Not super exciting for me for fantasy football. So if you're into super boring guys that catch 3 or 4 passes and either catch a touchdown or don't, then you must love Hayden Hurst. But if you like getting a little risky, high upside, low floor based on ceiling, go Darren Waller. And for me, I'm always chasing that upside. So give me Darren Waller with a smile.
With a smile. I think I'm going Darren Waller as well. I'm not scared off of starting multiple pass catchers. And since you have Derek Carr as a quarterback, that's an extra bonus, right? Like it's just another little tick. It's not the reason I'm starting him, but it's another checkbox on the Darren Waller side as to why you should start him. It's fun to have the stack, even in redraft.
You said tick there. JL was like, oh.
Also, Tommy, I do not know if Tommy wrote this joke, but it seems so topical that he must have written it. Where do blood-sucking bugs go to get a watch? TikTok.
Hey. That laugh, Simon, that laugh that you just did, like I've always like read books and I see the word like guffaw in there and I never knew what it sounded like, but now I know. Like that guffaw. Was you were like oh.
I got that right there.
That was now I know
Master of the guffaw. Legend of Zelda, Master of the Guffaw.
Master of the Guffaw.
JL Gaffawfalo.
That's way better.
JL Gaffawfalo. Yeah, why can't my last name be Garofalo? Because Gaffawfalo would just flow off the tongue so much better. Did you say it can? Is this a proposal?
Yeah.
Wow.
How funny would that be if just two bros? Yeah, one of them just gets the other one's last name.
Like
how great would that be?
That would be pretty awesome. Like me and my bro are so close. We just want to be connected right there. We got to have that
just
same
wanted to
name.
be family, you know?
Real bros share the same last name. And that's not always, but a lot of the time they do. And Tommy said, I take 100% credit for that dad joke. I'll give you credit for that dad joke, Tommy.
Boy, Tommy.
Guys, we get lots of trade questions in here. People asking about specific trades. But so we thought it would be a good idea to take a step back and maybe talk overarching trade strategy, things we've learned going through trades, techniques we've learned that have worked well, or different barriers like hurdles to making trades done, because those, just knowing that those are in your way can oftentimes help you work past them, right? JL, you and I, maybe for the people that don't know, when we started Front Yard Fantasy, one of our first products that we thought was going to be the big winner, was going to make it big for us, was a trade negotiation tool. I still love the idea. We've obviously moved past it for the time being, but you and I spent months and months and months researching trade psychology and human decision making and trying to model these things mathematically. So
the fantasy, hundreds of fantasy players about how they trade, what their
tendencies are, what they think about. Yeah. So there's a lot of time spent thinking about trades.
We were getting on Google Meet calls and phone calls with just anybody from like the fantasy football Reddits or Twitter that would talk to us just to ask them about trading and what was painful for them in trading. So I wouldn't say we're experts, but I say we spent a lot of time just focused on this problem. So we got some words at least.
We got some words.
And Coop, I think probably gets more trades done than both of us, even with all of that being said.
Probably.
So I do most of my trading in the offseason in Dynasty. In season, I personally I mostly trade out of necessity. But we can get to that.
Here's the thing. Here's why trading is super important for just if you want to break this game down into strategy and just meta strategy. There are 3 ways to improve your team. There are exactly 3 ways to improve your team: through the draft, through the waiver wire, and through trading. Most people completely ignore trading, right? Because it's tough. It's hard to do. It takes a lot of time and cognitive load, but it's one of the few ways that you can balance your team. And think about it this way: everybody is going to draft those like top maybe 5 rounds of talent, right? If you don't ever think about trading, or don't ever even consider it or try to engage in trading, then you are cutting yourself off from an entire pool of talent of players that would be able to help you balance out your team. And so it's super important that I think most people don't realize it's an edge.
100%.
It can, like, I think people also, like, you remember your bad trades more than your good trades, right? So like you get this, like we're talking about, it's an edge. Not all trades work out, but that's where, like, consistently don't let one bad trade sully this viewpoint of it. Like in the
separate
end,
outcome from process.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like then it's no. And when you really boil it down, trading is no different than from the draft in the sense of you're trying to take public sentiment, the overarching public sentiment, and figure out where you think that you're right about something or you know something that goes against that grain and capitalize on it. Whether it's taking a guy that everyone likes on your team that you don't really trust, or looking for guys that everyone else has given up on, but you believe in. That's where trades become easier to make, right? So that's kind of the big move, in my opinion, is to like figure out where you go against the grain and use that to your advantage. If you're right, then it pays off in a big way. So
100%. And we were talking with our friend Dave Kluge the other day, and he brought up that it feels like the trade market is stale. And his reasoning was everybody is saying the same trade for targets or trade away targets. Like there is no sell high right now, because if you think sell high, so does everybody else. The people you're trading with also don't want to buy high on a player that you're trying to sell high for. So Coop, like the point you brought up, 100% I love that. Don't just look at these lists of trade targets, because everyone's on the same page with those. Know what I mean? Like if you see a tweet with trade for these players, a lot of the times those are the players that everyone's trying to trade for. The sentiment's already moved. It's where you've got a differing opinion, where you do think a little bit different than consensus. People say Melvin Gordon's done for the year. You think he's not. Know what I mean? You go trade for him. Like that's where you find those edges.
I will say, do look at those lists though, and then look at it from the perspective of like another dimension up, right? So like look at those lists and then go see how the public is feeling. Because really, to me, like the best traders, people who trade the most effectively, understand that it's a game of psychology. And understand that it's a game that you have to understand how the public is feeling about things. Most people go into it and they're like, all right, I'm going to try and basically pull one over on my league mate, right? I'm going into this expecting my league mate is dumb or is not paying attention. And that might be the case sometimes. You might be able to catch your league mate off, on their back foot or whatever, not paying attention. But most of the time people are pretty in tune. They get the general gist. And if you're worried about a player, your league mate's likely worried about that player too. So they're probably not going to trade for it. So we talk about this a lot with Alex when he brings his trade value, market trade value charts on the show. I use those trends and I essentially fade them on players that I like. And I love the point you brought up, Coop, of like, you have to look at where you think that where there's an inefficiency between how you value a player and how the market values a player.
Right. So first I will say, good morning, Esoteric Dragon. We see you in the chat saying,
what
good
up,
morning,
Dragon? Dragon for life.
Dragon.
Let's go. So now that we got that out of the way,
I'll
tag on to what JL said, in that I think the number one mistake made with trades, especially, JL said, you got to start a conversation if ideally, right? But the number one mistake, especially with trades that you send out where there's no where you just send the trade, there's no communication, it's just, it shows up in your inbox, is that the person offering the trade doesn't think about the other player's team.
Yeah.
That is the number one mistake, is that even if you sit there and say, I think the guy I have is overvalued, I think that guy's undervalued, you could send that trade and it's not going to go through if you don't think about the other person's team. Like if the other person has, Josh Allen, and you're sitting there saying, I think Jalen Hurts is overvalued, so I'm going to trade him away. And you try and trade Jalen Hurts to the dude that has Josh Allen, he's never going to accept that trade. You have to think about his roster. Does he need running backs? Does he need wide receivers? Then you go into it from that standpoint where, like JL said with the psychology, it makes sense. You can explain yourself. If they say, why do you want to do this trade? You need a wide receiver. I need a running back, right? You underneath all that, maybe you think the guy you're trading away is overvalued. The guy he's trading to you is undervalued, but you don't have to say it that way. You just say, hey, you need a guy. I need a guy. Let's make this swap. So never forget the other. There's always two people in the trade. Takes two to tango.
Takes two to tango. And I think I completely agree with that, Coop. I think it leads into a bigger topic here, which is that I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of trading amongst fantasy football gamers, which is that, trading is a cooperative mechanic in a non-zero sum game. What does that mean? Non-zero sum game means that we can both benefit without one of us losing something. A zero sum game would be like, for instance, I don't know, tic-tac-toe. Every time or maybe like Monopoly. Monopoly is a good one where it's like there's only so much money. In order to do something, I have to give money to Coop in order to get something back. Non-zero sum game means that we both can benefit, right? There's other mechanics here, and so it's a non-zero sum game and it's a cooperative mechanic. So you and your league mate are cooperating in order to increase both of your chances to win a championship. And so a lot of people come into it thinking, I'm going to try and did I win this trade? Did I lose this trade? Think about it. You don't want to try and win or lose a trade. You want to foster these relationships because it's like light collusion, right? It's cooperating, and that's part of the mechanics of the game.
No, absolutely. And Coop, what you brought up, like those problems are solvable through what you said, Jay. Like that communication, and especially whenever you're looking at it through a cooperative lens, it changes that communication. You're texting them and you're just talking ball. You're looking at both your teams saying like, how can we make this happen? Instead of it like being a tricky, like you're trying to maneuver around and hide information and get a little sneaky, because you're right, Joe. People usually see right through that. They get right past that.
Well, to that degree, there's another level where last week I talked about how you can look at your league specifically and look at guys like Kenneth Walker and Michael Carter and see, okay, were these guys rostered before these injuries happened, or were they already owned? And you can kind of predict waivers for next year and plan for next year, right? And say, okay, do I need to save my fab in this league or not? Same goes for trading. Look around your league. Look at the people that you know personally that you text. If you text somebody about things other than fantasy football, that's a good trade partner because you already have conversations with that person. You can turn to
communication channel.
The person I trade with the most is one of my best friends, my buddy Alex. And we take this very seriously, and it makes it easier for us to say, "Hey, I need a wide receiver. Can you help me out?" When you phrase it that way, it's a little bit different, right? So same goes for these leagues. Like if you have a dude in your league that hasn't made a trade in 6 years, don't bother combing his roster and sending him trades and texting him. Like that dude clearly doesn't like to trade. Look for the people that are sending you offers and the people that want to trade and the people that regularly get trades done. It's going to make your life a lot easier, right? There's no reason, like, with your neighborhood, it's Halloween, right? If the house has been dark 6 Halloweens in a row, or they're giving away toothpaste, don't go to that house, dude. Go to the house
Wow,
that has
a really good analogy, a very timely and applicable analogy. It's kind of scary.
You want to go to the house that's got the decorations and they're sitting out front drinking a beer and they're got a big bowl of those full, the Reese's pumpkins over there. That's what you want. That's the guy that's going to trade you the player you want. So
what kind of set us down this path a little bit was like Simon and I were, we're best friends. And before we started Front Yard Fantasy, I remember we were playing, like we'd play fantasy and trading with Simon was so different than trading with my other league mates because it'd be like, hey, I know you value Stephon Diggs, higher than most people because you went to school with him. There's like the emotional attachment. He's like, I value him too that highly. Maybe there is a trade that I can make it worth it enough to trade Stephon Diggs. And him approaching me like that was so much easier to be like, yeah, like let's talk about it. Like no one's untouchable. Let's talk through it. And taking that approach versus like adversarial completely changes how effective you are trading.
Like I knew I was never going to pull one over. I knew I was never going to pull one over on you about Stephon Diggs. It didn't matter. Know what I mean? Like, how aware I was of what you thought about him. Like there wasn't going to be any tricks going on there. So you just got to approach it from that dynamic. And I think if you take that with other people, maybe even people you're not super close with, you'll build that trade trust. I saw something from Tom. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
So the steps that I would say are some just for really being effective trader. Like one is what Coop said, start a conversation. Don't send a bad trade offer as a conversation starter. Just start the conversation, right? An actual conversation with the person. And then second part, understand their needs, talk to them, ask them what they think. What do they want? How do they feel about their team? And then third is like, don't get upset if they don't like your trade offer or aspects of your trade offer. They don't think the same way you do. That's fine. Your job is a researcher, right? Like your job is an investigator. And so you're a detective. Like your only job is to figure out how they feel about the players so you can figure out if there's some match there.
It's even better if they don't think the way you do. Right?
In fact, it is difficult to trade with someone who would think exactly like you.
Don't get mad. Just figure out how you can use that to your advantage. Like if you think that their opinions on their players are that bad, then figure out, be like, okay, who do you like then? If you like these guys, right? And just see if you can get something done.
Tommy
Sorry,
brought
Simon,
something
I
up that was like a big barrier that I think for a lot of people. He said, trading to me just feels dirty, like I'm cheating on my team. Not sure why I feel that way, but you are right, JL. 100%. And I think like whenever I was looking into this, there's a term that's used in finance more often than in like fantasy sports, but it's called the endowment effect. And what it means is that you're going to,
bias.
you're going to value the assets that you own higher because you own them. Like you are going to have a natural bias towards something that you already have than to something that you don't have, because there's that fear of losing it as well. Like I already have Robert Woods. What if I trade Robert Woods away and he blows up? So naturally I have to trade him away at his peak value, at his ceiling, instead of just what he is. You overvalue your current assets and you're optimistic about what they could be. And that's something you just have to overcome. You're never going to trade with people if you're sitting there and you're sending out offers like, well, Juju could be the wide receiver one, so I'm going to send Juju for Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten trade offers like that. Like people genuinely overvalue their players to that extent.
That's why I like using those market trade values that Alex has, because that's what they're supposed to do, right? They're supposed to give you a baseline of like, it doesn't matter if you value this guy way differently than this other guy. If the market's not there, you're never gonna get a trade done.
Now, my number one advice is there's a book that I consider to be the best book I've ever read. Maybe not my favorite book I've ever read, but the best book I've ever read. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I read it because I was working in real estate, but I read the book and then I also listened to it on audio tape afterwards. Like that's how good this book is. And the guy is a hostage negotiator that was so good at hostage negotiating. They've invited him to go to this like thing at MIT where it's all business people and you had to do negotiations, and he just kept winning every single time. And they were like, how are you winning these negotiations? Like they would pit him up against like all these like high-end business people, professors, everything. And they would say, you got to get as much from each side as you can. He would win every time. And it ended up being the title of the book, but he would say, I come from hostage negotiation where you can't split
Stakes
the
are
difference.
high.
You can never say, okay, kill 10 of them, give me the other 10. So he goes, I focus on what I want, and then I figure out the best way to make that happen. So like I know what I'm willing to give up. So you go in and look at your lineup and pick all the guys off the bench and say, okay, I want Stephon Diggs. I'm willing to give up any number of these guys, but I'll work through the negotiation and kind of throw them in as need be. But like if you listen to this book, man, or read the book, it'll help you in so many aspects of your life, not just fantasy football. But for trading, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Cannot recommend it enough. This guy's
check it out.
Yeah, check that out, bro.
Yeah, that is a good one. I have not read it, but it is on my list. I want to hit some of these questions in here. Not all of that we are hitting these, so we'll kind of weave them in while we're talking trade theories here and then trade strategy. But we'll probably keep them a little shorter here. So Brendan asking, are people underselling DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, the next few weeks with Njoku out? He becomes a pretty nice flex play for a while, at least in my eyes. What do you think, Coop?
So what was the other what was the other player besides Njoku?
Donovan Peoples-Jones with Njoku out comes a pretty nice flex play. It's just people
absolutely.
underselling DPJ.
No, absolutely. I mean, like we saw him have an 11 target game to start the season. He's pretty consistent the last few weeks. I think Harrison Bryant is going to become viable, but he was already playing a decent number of snaps, and they're going to replace Harrison Bryant snaps with somebody like Farrell Brown or a blocking tight end that's not going to really soak up targets. So I do think the targets are going to be highly consolidated among the top three guys, Amari, DPJ, and Bryant. So he's kind of in a smash spot right now.
Also, I see Hal reminding us DPJ is a bye next week. Well, don't start him on bye. But while Njoku's out, I agree with everything Coop said. But yeah it doesn't help him at all if he's not playing.
True. Tommy's saying maybe this is why I was never good at this. My childhood league guys just want to dominate you and then teabag you. Yeah, right. Some leagues are like that. Some leagues you're just not gonna be able to trade. In which case, that it is what it is. It depends on your league and your league culture and all that. And sometimes it's harder to get trades done in certain groups. That's understandable, but it definitely gives you an edge. If you can do it properly. Hal saying that bias screws all trades in my leagues, like they never want to admit they have a need on their team. Yeah, and this is a tough aspect of it, is convincing people, getting people out of that mindset because they've been trained so far, right? That trading is like they get defensive immediately. Like this person's trying to get one over on me, and you have to learn how to disarm them in that way in order to be able to get them to even consider it.
Yeah, try and know the people because, like, the hardest trade, in my opinion, is if you sit here and say, I think people are underestimating Stephon Diggs, so I want to go and get him. And then you have to go and find out what team he's on and just try and target that specific player. I think that's the hardest way to do it. The easiest way to do it is say, I have extra wide receiver, and then go through each team and say who needs a wide receiver. But you're right. It can be hard to go to somebody and be like, your wide receivers blow. So you have to know who you're talking to. Like if it's somebody who's going to get offended by that, then, if JL's trading and he comes to me and says my wide receivers blow, I'll be like, no, they don't, dude. And I'll go through why they're awesome. But if he went to Simon and you and like, hey, Simon, like you and me, we're buddies. Like, I got to tell you, your wide receiver sucks. Simon might be like, you know what? You're right. Like, let's work out a deal. So know who you're talking to. You know what I mean?
I also
know who you're talking to. Yeah.
If it's a notoriously difficult person to trade with, but someone you've tried with, like there's people that you keep trying, you just can't get it done. Something that is so silly and small, but has helped me in the past. Get an icebreaker trade done, like low stakes. You know what I mean? Like some guys off your bench, some bench level players. Maybe it's a slight upgrade, a position swap where he's strong at running back, you're strong at wide receiver. You need to flip flop your depth a little bit. Like hell, a kicker trade. You know what I mean? Like even if it's just like a little bit of a joke, you know what I mean? Like, but a trade, just getting one through with somebody opens it up a little bit more. Like now you've done it. Now there's success. Now they know, okay, I can talk to this person and find something.
Now, let me ask you, would you take it to another level? Would you ever sandbag a trade and do a meaningless trade that you clearly lose a little bit though, just to get the blood flow in the league? Because I will say,
not for that reason. I will do a trade where I quote unquote lose, which I don't believe in, but in which according to market value, I'm taking less market value. But not because I want to get the league hold. I don't care. I don't care if the league. I don't want my league mates to trade a lot. I want to trade a lot, right? Because I just told you how trading makes your team better. I don't want my league mates to be better.
Dude, there is. If you want to talk about psychology, earlier this year in like August, we have a league, the Fantasy Besties League, and Jake Trowbridge one morning just woke up. Yeah, he's my man. Dude. Talk about a Morgan Freeman impression. That guy's got long.
God.
But he woke up.
Friends on fantasy Twitter.
He woke up one morning. He goes, I'm making a trade today. Into the chat. He goes, I'm making a trade today, no matter how it happens. And then just starts flying around with the conversations and stuff. By the end of the day, no joke, 5 or 6 trades got done. And he was only in like one of them, I'm pretty sure, maybe 1 or 2. Like he just got the juices going and like everybody was trading. The trade. I swear in the chat, I actually think the word trade juices being thrown around, which was really weird.
Disgusting.
But it was it was pretty nasty. But I mean, I ended up making a trade that wasn't even with him that day. That was like huge. It worked out terrible for me, but I just got fired up. I wanted to get something done. I think I traded for Robert Woods and Michael Thomas in a dynasty league, but I was just fired up to get something done. So maybe be that guy in your league and be like, where are the trades? Let's get the trades going. And, you get people thinking about it. And then someone might come to you with the trade. You don't even have to do the work. They just walk to your doorstep and send you a trade that, it happens, right?
Tom says if I ever called the guys in my league a league mate, they would punch me in the face just for saying something nice. They're enemies.
Right.
If I ever called the guys a league mate, what the heck do you call them?
Assholes.
Friends, probably.
Is league mate a weird term?
Opponents. I think it's just too friendly. It's saying like we're in this together instead of we're trying to fight each other. Know what I mean?
Guy
Tommy said guy in the league. Dude, we're just some guys in a league, but not too close. Wouldn't say we're mates, man. But we're just some guys in a league.
Philosopher group that Tommy
eating
plays
meat, playing football, and talking about football. And
league mate is a little too close to affection that they just shy away from it.
Would you like to be league mates with me?
Dude, stop. What gross, man. That's disgusting.
Like, I'll be one of the guys in your league, I guess, but league mate.
Dude, like, chill. We're just
it reminds me of my brothers. Like, my brothers get so annoyed that I like hug them and stuff. They're like, stop being weird. I'm like, dude, Stop being weird. Just accept affection. Stop being afraid of affection.
Jail's
Get
like,
outta
do
here.
you need a little help with your wide receivers?
How's
I don't know why
down
I
here
became so
struggling?
sheepish.
Hal's
Excuse
trying to
me.
spell leagy weegy in the chat, but can't figure out how to say leagy weegy.
Leaky weegy.
Excuse me,
The
league
heck is
mates.
leaky weegy?
First he wrote
Leaky-
leggy Ouija was what he wrote the first time. My leggy Ouijies. That's what I call you guys. Are you in
Oh
my
my
leggy
god,
weggy?
dragging, throwing back. What is that? The vine, or there's like just some guys in a league standing 5 feet apart, so they aren't gay.
Yeah, it's the hot tub. Two dudes chilling in a hot tub. Yeah,
Tub.
that's a classic vine. Yeah, that's the
Classic
league's
Vine.
giving off the same energy as the two dudes in a hot tub, Tommy. You guys just call him a
Yeah.
league mate and work past that hurdle.
Yeah,
You guys might
get
even
over it. It's
cry a
2022.
little. Know what I mean?
Mark-
Like league mate might pull a tear out of your friend's eye, and then it's going to open up this door for you.
Yeah, I think if you sit down with your league mates and have a good cry, it's really going to open up those trade the lanes.
Yeah, it definitely will. Mark in here asks, should I trade a stud for 2 starters? I have JT, Mixon, and Chase, and the Brees injury left an empty flex spot. I have Foreman, Pickens, and Jameson on my bench. Are you guys trading a stud for 2 starters here?
No, never. Just start Donta Foreman. Start George Pickens. Wait
Feel
for
like
James
I'd-
Williams to come back. Never.
I'd rather
trade
start.
your studs.
I'd rather start the studs and Deonta Foreman than downgrade and start these 2 downgraded options. Like, unless you're getting a crazy trade, like, I don't know what's even realistic there. Like, if you want a running back and a wide receiver in return for one of those guys,
I'm not trading away a stud for 2 guys ever. I will dominate the consolation bracket if I have to.
Yeah, I'm with
I'm
you.
with you.
I'm with you. And Drag asks, I'm torn between ETN, Mostert, and ETN or Mostert at flex. Looking at trading one of them for a consistent wide receiver 2. Who should I trade? Tired of Pittman and Cooper inconsistency. Diggs is my wide receiver 1.
Trade Mostert. Don't trade ETN.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Trade
get full
Mostert.
value. You're not going to get the value for ETN right now, right?
Try and capitalize on that,
You
that
might.
big week for Mostert.
You might with Robinson getting traded. You just might get top value on you.
Send your league mates.
Simon comes out and says that even though the trade happened, inflated ETN's value, and you should trade him before he sucks. That's what
I'm
Simon
not.
just
That's
said.
not what I said at all. I'm just saying no players off limits. A player can be on the rise, and you can still trade them away.
Whoa. Simon
I'm-
says sell high on Travis Etienne. Everyone's gonna see the trade, think he's gonna be awesome, and then he's not.
Are you done?
Simon,
Are you
you're getting the
finished?
J up. You're getting the treatment I usually
Yeah.
get, Simon.
I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait until Coop's done, and then I'll jump in.
I am done now.
You having
I'm
fun
done.
in
Yeah,
your
Travis
league?
Etienne sucks, is what I was just kidding. Now
We're back.
Travis Etienne
Drag
is
us in the
going.
shades.
He can be great.
Throwing
he
shades.
can be absolutely great, and that doesn't mean he's untradeable, though. That's the point I was trying to make. Like, just because an asset is ascending doesn't mean they're off limits, and you might be able to get really good value because he's an ascending asset. Know what I mean? Like, because of that ascension, you might be able to get a little bit of an overpay.
I tell you though, like now might be the only time to trade him, because when whatever happens this week, if he has a bad week, you're not going to want to trade him, right? But if he has an amazing,
you're not going to want to trade him.
you're not going to want to trade him either. Yeah, like now is like the only, he needs to come out and have an exactly average week for you to be like, okay, I'll trade him. You know what I mean? Because it's like otherwise you're
Schrodinger's
you're gonna be in your
ETN right now. We're just sitting.
You're
there
gonna be in your
where
fields
Could be
too much
great.
about
Could be
it.
bad.
field. Yeah, that's why you just trade Mostert instead. Trade Mostert.
I prefer to
EJ
trade
popping in
Mostert,
said,
I'm
hey
with you.
guys, just popping in to say hello. I'm not so high on Jags offense. So much ETN hype from one game and usage. EJ, just wait and see, my friend. Just wait
You
and
are
see.
You are talking to a group of people that are incapable of being unbiased on this player.
Yes.
We
that
love
is
Travis
ab-
Etienne.
You guys got me sold. I'm all fired up. Yeah, was I not the first person to text you when that trade?
You were the
Yeah,
the
dude, I was
very
ready.
first
I was
person, yeah.
I was like, let's go,
Let's
dude. That's good for
go.
the show, baby.
Craig said I
Listen,
traded Travis Etienne for James Robinson off Simon's advice. Good deal. Yeah, killed
deal.
it. Great job, Craig.
I'm sorry, Craig. I'm sorry you had to. And Jay said, too many people feel like they have to win a trade. Not enough people understand the mutually beneficial trade. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the key, man. That's the key.
Yo, I
Tyson
don't,
asking, I have a. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
I was just gonna say, like, sometimes I'm scrolling the TikTok comments, and I feel like what we're talking about here, I see in just little conversations, someone will be like, "Hey, how did he do that magic trick?" And the first 10 comments will be like, "If you're too stupid to know just from watching it, then I guess you'll never find out." instead of someone just being like, oh, it's sleight of hand, look in his sleeve. Like there's this desire to just like win every conversation in people. Like, just chill. Like, it's okay. It's not everything's like a contest. And I love a contest. Like, I sure love a contest, but chill out, guys.
That's Reddit, bro. I had somebody get mad at me. Not because of the order of my tight end rankings, but because I didn't put like a separate bracket around Andrews and Kelsey that said they were in a different tier. And like that comment, like dogging me for that, got like 179 of them. Like, just people are just,
Gotcha.
That's why I appreciate our chat, because you guys are mean, but you're mean to us in a
loving way.
The way you would be mean to your good friends. So we appreciate you guys.
That's how we take it. So don't tell us if it's different.
Don't tell us if you actually don't like us.
Yeah. I was saying Clemson homers. Well, if you genuinely think that we are biased because we love Clemson, then it's worked out for you, right? Mike Williams, value. Travis Etienne, value.
T. Higgins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Higgins, value. DeAndre Hopkins, value.
14 targets.
Sounds like my Clemson bias. You might be a little more interested in it.
Hunter Renfrow.
Credit, Jail. You were being conservative a little bit on the on DeAndre Hopkins.
I was being conservative on DeAndre Hopkins and
even as guy.
Yeah, for sure. It's not difficult to separate. Listen, when I give advice, it's not difficult. I don't give advice based off my fandom. It's super easy not to give advice based off fandom, guys. It's not a difficult thing.
Martavis Bryant, value. Sammy Watkins,
Martavis was a value for
Adam Humphries, stud.
Hunter Renfrow, value.
Adam Humphries kind of made it happen, dude.
Can't believe he never won a starting job.
But I never hyped those guys.
Did we have another
Adam Humphries? You can't make fun of Adam Humphries. Like, you can't make fun of 7-year veterans in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, Adam Humphries.
You don't see me out here saying Adam Humphries is better than Justin Jefferson.
You know what? I actually have not heard
you have crossed that very low bar for not being a homer. But if that's the criteria, then you absolutely pass it.
Yeah, Bobby said trades have always been hard for me. I have Miles Sanders, but need a wide receiver. I have Olave, Deontay, Jacoby Myers, and looking for an upgrade. Who would be an adequate substitute that is in that range? I believe Alex just released his trade value charts, but I don't have them up currently.
If you have those guys, then I would. But like, honestly, with certain trades, you can use your heart. Like, you can think about your particular league, right? If you start 2 wide receivers in that league and you have Olave, Jacoby, and Deontay Johnson, you don't feel super comfortable starting those guys. And if all 3 are on your bench, just take 2 of them and go for, honestly, like the lowest guy that you would be comfortable starting every single week. Like, think about the guys who, if you have them, you are never, ever taking them out of your lineup. Like, if you take those 2 guys and trade them for AJ Brown, I think that's a win. Any 2 of those guys, because you just took a decision that you're making every single week and turned it into a guy that you're just like, all right, I'm comfortable, you know? How far down this list would you guys go?
Now. I'm looking at the trade value chart right now. And the name that jumps out to me is Chris Godwin. Like, still being valued a little bit below Miles Sanders. He's playing like Tom Brady just fed him targets last week, and he's going to keep doing it. It's what Chris Godwin does. Like, if you can turn Miles Sanders into Chris Godwin, I want him over Michael Pittman, who's above him right there. Like, I'll take Chris Godwin. That's a slam dunk.
Oh, he's trading Miles Sanders? I thought he was trading his wide receivers.
Was he trying to trade Miles Sanders? I believe that's what the trade said right there, but I may be mistaken.
Yeah.
It was trade is always hard for me. I have Miles Sanders, but need a wide receiver.
Yeah, so it sounds like
wide receiver
trying to move Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders is in the what's here? He's in the tier 4, 36 trade value points, whatever the currency is. Yeah, I like the Chris Godwin take. Deebo Samuel's right around there. T. Higgins.
I don't know if you'll get that done, but I would do it for Deebo. I just don't see it getting done. But you could try, shoot your shot. See if they'll accept it. I don't think the value's way far off.
That's what these market values are, right? Is like, you might not get it done in your league, but the point of these market values are to, try and guess or estimate what the general public feels. So there are going to be some leagues where that does get it done. And Deebo just dropped 13 points this week. Holy cow.
Yeah. Do we have another question in there, John Luke? I think we did. Let me see if we can pull that up.
Gibbs had one. Where'd you go? Should I trade ETN for Swift? No.
ETN straight up for DeAndre Swift. Should I trade
I want
ETN
to?
for Swift? Would you do it, Coop?
I want to, but the guy's hurt. If all right, JL, if Swift was 100% healthy, would you do the trade?
Yes, I would do that trade.
There you go. So don't do the trade because Swift is not healthy and he's never played full season. So
They're close though. They're honestly they're close.
Yeah.
Even if healthy.
But right, that's what I mean. So if it's close enough, then
Right. The injury definitely is the deal breaker for me.
the Lions are not good.
And the line and the offense as well. I mean, Swift is going to transcend any bad offensive play, but still, it does limit him because of the receptions. But it does limit him still.
I'm keeping ETN. I'm keeping ETN in this one as well. And it's the injury. If Swift wasn't injured, I would absolutely sell on the hype for running back like DeAndre Swift. But he is injured.
And also, like when we're talking trade theories and that trading that 1-for-1 same position type trade, especially if it's like lateral, like similarly valued players, it's a recipe for disaster because you're immediately creating a situation where one side loses, right? Either one of the sides, the value goes up or down and they feel like they lost out value, or the best case scenario is that neither value changes and that you both basically stay the same, which is just a wash and there's no point in doing it. So I think JJ Zach recently, I think he called it, Simon, when you were on this, the waiver wire Q&A with them, he called it the musical chairs trade. It's just it's not a good strategy.
Lucius came in here with a super chat with a question for us. Thank you so much, Lucius. Appreciate you.
Lucius.
He said, would you trade Pittman and Goddard for Kelsey? Michael Pittman and Goddard for Kelsey. Yeah. If you can get Kelsey for that, I'm doing it. I think that's fair.
Pittman's supposed to be playing with a Sam Ellinger, the 6th-round quarterback that has never really played. Yeah, I would do that for sure, brother. Goddard also had a pretty bad week the last week before the bye. People forget that it's like everyone's like, oh, Goddard, but he's still the 3rd target on the team and he only had 2 catches. I don't know, man. Kelsey's been so good. Go get Kelsey.
He's so good. Joe, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I would make that trade.
EJ Houston, good luck with your guys. ETN takes and holds. I hope he busts, but much love. Gotta run. Man, I believe that love in there. Like he says, like, I hope he busts, but much love, man. Like I fully believe him.
DeAndre Swift, before he got hurt, he played 2 games. And in the first one, he had 15 carries for 100. The first game, he had 175 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. And then the second game, he had like 87 yards and a receiving touchdown. So like, I don't know, man. Swift is kind of awesome.
Yeah. Craig in here said it is the Sam old with these backup QBs. Crazy overrated off the jump. Sam old with Sam Ellinger coming in over there.
Ooh,
and Philly Mac said, you guys are always on when I'm on. You guys are always on when I'm on my phone on the toilet. Does this make you bathroom mates? Jill, are we bathroom mates with Philly Mac?
We are absolutely. We're bathroom bros. That's what we are.
Tommy's buddies are like, don't call me a league mate, but we can be bathroom bros.
Yeah, it's okay if we're in the bathroom.
You guys ever seen those quizzes where it's like the urinal quiz? They give you different layouts of people standing at urinals and you have to decide like which the optimal urinal is. Every guy I've ever seen take that quiz gets 100% every time. Then you put it in front of a girl and they're like, you guys have like unspoken urinal etiquette. Like there's just unspoken rules about you do. If someone stands next to you and there's an open one, you're like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Know what I mean? Like there's etiquette you got to follow.
Imagine
bathroom mate.
Imagine explaining it to a girl and being like, and she's like, well, why not this one? And you're like, no. That's the short one. That's for kids. Yeah. Right? It's like, she's like, oh.
That's for babies.
Yeah.
Guys,
I witnessed, can I tell a story real quick?
Yeah. You got it.
I witnessed what I think was a very big violation of urinal etiquette in the men's room the other day. I can't even remember where I was. It was in like an airport or something. And I walk in and I all the stalls, all the urinals are taken. And so I'm sitting there waiting. I look up and I see one guy who's like this looking over and the other guy all the way in the corner trying to hide himself from the guy next to him, and neither of them are talking. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just walk in on? Like, what is happening right now?
You're just missing like sexual assault, brother.
I know. I was like genuinely concerned.
Yeah, that's concerning. That's where you dial the security of the place wherever you're staying. Like, hey, there's a creep in the bathroom.
But then it turns out that they're friends. One of them was like eating gummy worms, and the other was like, "Yo, give me some of those."
Yeah.
He's just hiding them in the corner. He's like,
use
eating
your
them like
left
this.
hand. Use your left hand.
Give me some of those, dude.
You touched your peach with that.
Guys, coming up, we have our friend Calvin Watkins joining the show to talk a little bit of Cowboys. He covers the Dallas Cowboys for Dallas Morning News and Sports Day Cowboys. So stick around for that. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Nando, and friends. Presented by Mayo Media on Bettor Sports Network.
It's not like Russell Wilson's throwing for 300 yards and they're just losing, because of 31 to 24 or something like that. That's another
Go
thing.
out there, sit up in that cold stadium, and come to root on that trash. I feel bad for the Denver Bronco fans. Imagine you taking your family and you say, "Let's pack up the van. We going to go see the Denver Broncos in the Walmart, guys." Right. And you get out there in that altitude, right? So now the kids already complaining, "Daddy, my head hurt. Daddy, I don't feel good. Daddy, I don't want to be here. The Walmart man is up there. How come he's been cut through? My head is hurting. It's cold, Daddy. Can I get a glizzy?" And the glizzy costs, great value glizzy, costs $17. Because you got to pay $40 to $45 million for the quarterback who stinks. That's a bad fan experience right now.
Let me give you my Honey Nut Cheerios story real quick.
Yes, tell me.
I'm at the grocery store, and I got to buy Cinnamon Toast Crunch that they eat here. And there's a thing, like buy two, get two free. So it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, Cheerios, whatever. So I get two Cinnamon Toast Crunches, and there's Cheerios. And let's check my fourth one. And I noticed on the Honey Nut Cheerios, there's a free toy inside. And it's like all the retro 90s commercial pictures. So no one eats Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm going to eat a box of Honey Nut Cheerios. Just to get my toy. So, and then I've taken the Cinnamon Toast Crunches off the shelf. And I noticed the ones behind it have the retro toy as well. We'll have 3 toys in this home.
I still got my adult Happy Meal toys, which they're actually going crazy on eBay right now. You know what
Are they
I'm
really?
saying? Yeah. Well,
how did we miss?
Listen, people. There's some of them that's listed for $300,000. But yeah, you can like Fry Guy. You can get $25 for Fry Guy right now.
Oh, that's not really going wild. I thought like $300.
No, I think it will soon though. I'm gonna hold on. I got Fry Guy and Hamburglar, so I'm gonna hold on to them.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We are about to have our friend Calvin Watkins up, covers the Dallas Cowboys. He gave us some hot tips at the beginning of the year, and I'm excited to have him back on. He exposed us to a little bit of a sleeper guy who saw some action already this year, and I'm keeping my eye on. Who was it? It was Turpin last time, right? Keontae Turpin.
Yeah, and he helped us kind of steer away from Jalen Tolbert a little bit, dude. He came in with the right info, so I'm excited to get an update on this Cowboys team, especially because the Cowboys are playing well. A lot easier to talk to people when their team's playing good. So.
Also, Tommy down here saying every time he hears Olave's name, he sings a classic Italian song by Volare. I don't know how you say it. Tommy, I'm going to purposely not look that up so I don't have a Darian Gumbawale situation on my hands every time I hear Chris Olave.
We got to get Olave. We got to get Tommy. Why don't you call in and sing that song for us? Because I don't think any of us could do it justice.
That would be beautiful if Tommy would call in and sing that for us. Also, Lucius in here was saying, I'm so glad you guys said that with his question that he asked, because I already did it. Or because I just did it. Already first place in that league. So this is awesome. Thanks, guys. The rich get richer, don't they? The rich get Travis Kelce.
Get richer.
Man, this is what Coop's talking about. Your league mate should have taken a peek over at your team. If you're sitting first overall, you've got a dominant team, and you're just moving Michael Pittman and your backup tight end to upgrade to Travis Kelce. They might have just created a monster, an absolute monster of a team. Hal wants to know, we'll have to ask Calvin about this when he comes on, but please tell me Gallup will produce wide receiver 2 numbers rest of season. Yeah, that goose egg did us dirty. I was expecting a Gallup game, but it did not happen. Coop, this is a question for you from Tyson. Start Goddard or Ingram this week?
That's a tough one because they're both getting the targets. Goddard does not have that great a matchup. I believe he's playing the Steelers, and I think Ingram's playing the Broncos. If it's full PPR, I would start Ingram, but if it's half PPR, I'm starting Goddard because I think Goddard does have a better chance to score. That's the one thing holding Ingram back. Like, if you had one touchdown, he's a tight end one. If you had another one, we're talking like tight end 6-7. That's how it goes. But he has 0 touchdowns, and he has a few end zone targets, which puts him in the top 10 for end zone targets. Not a lot of guys get those, but you gotta catch them, dude. So for time being, that's how I'm lining those guys up.
I think I agree with you here. Nicholas coming in with the super chat. I don't see a question attached to that, Nicholas, but thank you so much. And if you've got a question, let us know.
Nicholas.
We would be more than happy to answer
My
it.
man.
I was going through here, and I feel like we missed a portion of this Gibbs trade, the ETN for Swift trade that we did not even talk about yet. He said he wanted to know about would you take Dalvin Cook? ETN straight up for Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was also offered to him. I'm taking Cook in that situation.
Yeah. Cook already had his bye week too.
Guys, here's Nicholas's question. We got it in here right now. He said Dynasty 12-man, half PPR, 0.2 PPR. I don't know why I said both of those. Start 10. Running backs are Jonathan Taylor, ETN, and Rashad White. Wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Pittman, Juju, and Pickens. Strong at quarterback and tight end. Do I need to trade for another running back? So sitting there with JT, ETN, and Rashad White. Would you be looking to move one of these wide receivers, maybe a CD, Pittman, or Juju to upgrade at running back, Coop?
Absolutely, man. Even if you're in a league where you start 3 guys, which I believe this is, when he says start 10, we're talking QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end. So he probably has 2 flexes actually, which kind of changes things for me.
And he said 0.2 point per carry. 0.2 point per carry, right there.
How many flexes you got, Nicholas? That changes my answer, I think. I don't know. Would you guys trade? Would you guys 3 flexes? I'm not trading. I'm sticking with what I have, man.
I think
that's the exact kind of format where you want to be loaded up on wide receivers, because even when running backs don't get hurt for the season, they generally miss a game. Like if you look at last year, there was only like 5 starting running backs that played the entire season. There was Jonathan Taylor and Najee Harris. They played all 17 games. Those were the 2 that really did. Zeke did, but he had a torn PCL. And then the other 2 starters were Chase Edmonds and Myles Gaskin and the guy for the absolute Mike Davis. Those are the only guys that played all 17 games. Guys
I got sick of you trying to figure out Mike Davis.
I was like, oh, dead zone. But so you want to have as many wide receivers as possible in that format. I think you did the right thing by drafting your team the way you did, and I would stick with it the way you have it. If one of your running backs get hurt and you don't have 2 running backs to start, then that's when you trade. And it'll be easy for you to trade because you go to your trade partner and say, hey, I need a running back. And then now you've opened the dialogue and they understand you, right? So as of right now, I'd stick with it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. Hal wanted to know, do you drop Pitts in his bye week? Are you dropping Pitts in his bye week, Coop?
Ask me that question in 6-7 weeks when he has his bye week. He's, you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you that. Why even ask that question now when his bye week is week 14? It's week 8. So
they might think that they might be thinking
it's a ghost
this week.
Pitts doesn't have a bye week until week 14, so you don't have to drop him now. I think I need to see, like, it's just crazy because Pitts has the second highest target share of any tight end. How crazy is that? 24.6% is the second highest target share of any tight end in the entire league. But when you throw 13 times, that doesn't matter. If that team actually ever brought in Desmond Ridder or actually threw a normal amount of times, then you would now all of a sudden have a guy who is getting 7, 8, 9 targets. If he gets 5 targets when they throw 13 times, just imagine how many targets he'd have if they threw 30 times. And 30 is not even that many.
Guys, joining us right now on the show, we've got Calvin Watkins with us. Calvin Watkins covers the Dallas Cowboys for Dallas Morning News and Sports Day Cowboys. He's also the author of On the Clock, Behind the Scenes with the Dallas Cowboys at the NFL Draft. Calvin, thank you so much for joining us today, my man.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. You guys all right?
Yes, sir. Good to
Yeah.
see you again, my friend.
Doing
And
all
no,
right.
it's been a couple of what's it been like 2 days since I last saw you guys.
Feels like it, man. It's honestly, the season's flying by.
Season 5, bro.
Like, what the hell? It's week 8. When did that happen? I feel like I just blinked. But Calvin, we were talking. It was great talking with you before the season started, getting some of that inside scoop on some of these players. You already helped us out and the people listening, getting to know some of this. And we've got questions about these Cowboys. We're excited to talk about them. They're a fun team to watch. Cooper Rush coming in, leading them to a pretty decent start without Dak. But now Dak's back. And our first question that came in the chat right before you came on, Hal wanted to know, please tell me Gallup will produce wide receiver 2 numbers rest of season. I think a lot of people were disappointed last week. He put up that goose egg, wasn't very involved, but we know how talented he is. He's an unbelievably talented wide receiver. Is he going to be more involved going forward?
Yeah, you hope so. I mean, it was like only the 3rd time in his career he didn't have a catch, and he had a drop in the game last week to the Lions. But they want to use Michael Gallup. The problem is the Cowboys have turned into this run-first operation, even under Dak Prescott. So, but I definitely expect Gallup and even your boy CeeDee Lamb to kind of maybe pick it up as the season progresses, because there's going to be times where, the opposing teams are going to stop the run, and then Dak Prescott's got to do his job, and that's get the ball down the field in the passing game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I got to. I'm a big tight end guy, so I while we're talking pass catchers, Dalton Schultz. I watched a good amount of the game last week. Schultz already had the PCL. Talk about the worst possible kind of tackle for a guy to get. The way he got tackled, rolled up on with the knee. Do you have any insight? I know it's still only Wednesday, but do you have any insight as to that knee and how he's feeling? Is he going to be a full go here, or did he tweak it enough that we have to be worried for as far as fantasy gamers go?
Well, I saw him after the game, and he's taking off his stuff, and I said, "Are you okay?" He's looked at me, and then I said, and you got to know Dalton Schultz. He's a guy. He's going to cuss like a sailor, Then I said, on that tackle, his leg really got jacked up, and I thought, oh man, he's really bad. He's really done. But he was able to come back, and he said he was fine. But everyone says they're fine after they get nicked up a little bit. We'll find out today whether or not he practices. I would think he'd be a limited participant this week. I would think he is going to play against the Bears. His numbers are going to be down this year just because you got to fight through that knee issue. And the Cowboys got 2 other young tight ends, and Peyton Hendershot and Jake Ferguson. Ferguson's kid they drafted, and Hendershot's from the University of Indiana University. So I don't know if Schultz is going to get the numbers he had last year just because they got these 2 other young kids on the come, and Dak Prescott and Cowboys offense is more about a run first until further notice. But I think Schultz will probably play this week, but we'll find out a little bit more when they have practice on Wednesday afternoon.
Well, let me throw a follow-up at you if you don't mind. Let's say Schultz can't go. Add a Hendershot or Ferguson. Who are you leaning towards? For let's say fantasy gamers want to throw a dart throw in DraftKings or something. Which one of these guys do you think has a little bit better pass catching chops? Or just who you think might be involved a little more if Schultz is out?
I think Ferguson is got a little bit more yards after catch.
Okay.
And he's going to get the first opportunity over Hendershot. That game against Detroit, they had 4 tight ends active, which is crazy. Wow. But of those 2 young kids, I would say Jake Ferguson might be a guy who would have better numbers than Hendershot. Even though Hendershot did catch a touchdown in that game, it was kind of funny because he was the second read, and Dak said, hell with it. I'll throw it to him because he's wide open. Because Hendershot's going like this in the end zone, So if the guy's doing that, you got to get him the football. But if you look at the numbers this season and the targets, I think they'll even themselves out to say that Jake Ferguson will be your guy more so than Hendershot. And maybe even Schultz, unless, once you injure that knee, it's almost like when Zeke got hurt last year, that knee is never right until the season's over because you got to rest it. So the best thing, for the Cowboys is they got a bye week next week. And now that I think about it, maybe you give Schultz this week and next week off. That's, but like I said, we'll see what happens on practice later today.
You just made my life so much easier, man. So many people depend on me for their tight end stuff in fantasy football. So now when I throw that out there, if Hendershot goes off, I say, what do you want me to tell you? Calvin Watkins told me that.
Calvin, I know a lot of people are concerned with Dak Prescott after this. We've been getting a lot of questions about Dak Prescott after his comeback game this week, only throwing 25 times. Kind of a little bit of a disappointing return for Dak for a lot of people. What did you see in this past game from Dak, and are you concerned at all, or is this just him coming back? It's just one game.
I think it's just one game. It's him coming back. It was a little bit rust. He missed 5 weeks, and
yeah.
In that first half, I was like, "What are you doing, bro?" You did double coverage one time. He's doing a double coverage, but in the second half, he was like 10-13. So that gave me some hope that he's coming out of it and he's going to find a rhythm. We'll see what he does this week. But the Bears, as you guys know, have a very good defense. So it's going to be a minute before we can kind of see those. Oh, he's 25 of 38 for 310, and 2 touchdowns. It's going to be a minute, especially if the Cowboys are going to stick with running the ball.
Yeah, this job is a little different than most of our jobs. It's like when I'm sick, I hop right back on the keyboard. Articles are coming out exactly, pretty much on the level they were coming out before. But yeah, playing professional football is
a little less happy about it.
I hop on this hot mic and I'm just like, maybe I get the frog out of my throat and then I'm at 100%. It's not quite like that for a quarterback, right?
I use an extra tissue or two before I start talking. That's the extent of my injury. That's what's going on right there. Calvin, sorry, go ahead, JL.
I'd say building off that, like the Michael Gallup, I think was another surprise for a lot of people. I think a lot of people were excited with him coming into this game, him coming off an injury with Dak, that symbiotic return or the coordinated return with Dak. Is it the same? Are you thinking the same way that you are about Dak, that Michael Gallup's just, they didn't pass a lot of this game. Dak's rusty, and that's going to affect Gallup. Is he the clear number 2 wide receiver on this team, in your opinion?
Yeah, he is. He's a clear number 2 guy. I mean, he was number 2 guy when they had Amari Cooper on his team. But then when they had CeeDee Lamb, then he kind of became the number 3 guy. Then obviously he got hurt. They brought him along slowly. As you guys know, I thought he would be back maybe the 3rd week of the season, 4th week, and then he came back that 4th game. So it's one of those things, when you're running the ball first, the number of targets are going to be down all around. And then defenses are jamming the Cowboys receivers, and you got to be able to get off the jam to get open. And now you got Dak Prescott coming off that thumb injury. The timing is not where it needs to be and those kinds of things. And so the offense is kind of disjointed right now. But the only thing you can rely on is Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. That's the only thing you can rely on. So I don't know about Gallup. I mean, he is clearly number 2 guy, and I was kind of shocked he didn't have any catches. But when I look back at the game, I was like, well, the first target he got was a bad throw from Dak. Then the second target he got was right on the money, and Gallup dropped the ball. You got to catch football, bro. When you catch football, you're not getting any targets. I'm sorry. It's just what it is.
So that's how it works.
But then what was interesting is he didn't get any other targets the second half. So was that a byproduct of what the Lions did to him? Was it the Cowboys said we got to run the ball? But like I said, Dak was 10-13 the second half. So he was throwing to somebody. Somebody was getting open out there. But Gallup wasn't. So we'll see what he does this week against Chicago. But like I said, it's another good defense. But I would believe that Gallup's numbers will get better because Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, was like, that's my fault. I got to scheme him up a little bit better. So I think Gallup will be fine.
I was surprised to see Noah Brown still so involved because in my mind, this is because of the connection between him and Cooper Rush, right? Like him and Cooper Rush had that connection. They played together a lot on the practice squad. Like we see that when these backup quarterbacks come in, that sometimes the guy they're used to throwing to in practice is the guy who benefits. But we still saw 7 targets for Noah Brown this past week, if I'm not mistaken, like pretty heavily involved. Is he going to maintain this role, or is this going to shrink as we go forward? Because it was more of the same, even with Dak back.
The good thing about Noah is that he's been around a long time.
Yeah,
he's in Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott's class, so he's seen all this. Now he was catching passes from Dak, before Dak became the starter, and then the good thing about Dak is that he will throw to the open guy. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but he's not going to force feed it to CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup because those are the ones and the twos. If Noah Brown's open, he's going to get the ball. And this is probably the first time Noah Brown's been like 100% healthy because his whole career, something's going with his knee, something's going with his hamstring, something's going with his foot. There's always something going on with him. And now he's healthy and he's finally getting a chance to show the Cowboys what he could do. And you're right. He did develop really good chemistry with Cooper Rush because they were backups. The backups still the backups. And, Noah was a good scout team receiver. But then, when Dak was coming back from the thumb injury and he was throwing to all the receivers, including Noah Brown. So I think he got a little bit of chemistry with him there as well. But I would think Noah Brown's numbers will continue to stay where they are. They've been pretty steady. And he's a guy just gets open. He just finds a way. And that might be because defenses are saying, it's just Noah Brown. I mean, what are we doing here? And Noah Brown's getting open. So it's a little bit of that going on too.
But you're right that, you look and see like the good quarterbacks, they run the plays and they throw to the open guys. Like Tom Brady is always throwing it to everybody. Whereas you look at like Jay Cutler getting locked on Brandon Marshall or Eli.
This is boy. You got to take care of your boy.
Eli Manning that one year, just Odell's rookie year. It was just a huck and chuck, eyes shut, So you want to see your guy distribute the ball to everybody, right? Like as a quarterback. Now you did mention Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott. Obviously you see the chatter on Twitter, Pollard sucks, Zeke sucks, Pollard's awesome, Zeke's awesome across the board. We did see Pollard get some goal line carries this week, which he usually doesn't get. He didn't punch it in, but still interesting to see him get those looks. How do you feel about this RB situation? I know it's a divisive topic in the fantasy football world, but in the real life world, probably a little more simple, right?
Yeah. In the real world per se, this is great for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They got a power runner in Zeke Elliott. They got the off-speed pitch in Tony Pollard. There was that, I don't know, remember, there was this play 1st and 10 at the 1. Dak throws his pass, almost got picked off at the goal line, and it's Tony Pollard, and he gets 18 yards down the field. That's what you use Tony Pollard for. He's got that speed. He can catch, he can move around. But on 3rd and 7, we need pass protection. You got Zeke Elliott on the football field, and that's why he's going to get a lot more touches and snaps, really, than Tony Pollard. Now, in the fantasy world, I'm finding somebody else. Dalvin Cook, maybe. I don't know. But it's going to be hard because they're going to split the reps between these two guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like one week you will see Tony Pollard lead the team in rushing. Another week you might see Zeke Elliott lead the team in rushing. And it's not going to be like 125 yards. The Cowboys combined will get like 135, 125 yards rushing as a team, but you split that between two guys. So in the fantasy world, I don't really know what to tell you. It depends on the total.
That's exactly.
You're saying the right thing. And the thing is, I'm on the other side. I'm like, I love irrational coaches. I love bad coaches. Use one player every snap. I don't want Bill Belichick using a bunch of different running backs. I want Riverboat Ron out there, using the same 11 dudes every single play, right? That's what I want to see. I know it's Eli Manning chucking it up to Odell. Like, I don't care if they win. That was great for fantasy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, right. I feel you, man. It's like, if your quarterback is distributing the ball to everybody and your coach is using both backs because you have two good backs, not good for fantasy, but as a Cowboys fan, you gotta love it.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Oh yeah, like Kevontae Turpin, right? You see him in special team. He returned a kickoff and a punt return for a touchdown, right, in preseason. Hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Okay, in the regular season, and before the season, Kellen Moore was like, hey, we're going to use Kevontae Turpin, all this kind of stuff. And we're going, yeah, okay. And he used him a little bit, and it's on these end arounds, he might get 4 yards. So if you say I'm going to draft Kevontae Turpin because boom, he might break free, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but still, like, he's still making plays on special teams, like he's helping the team. You know what I mean? It's a good player to us is not a good player to coaches. Like, coaches love a fast dude that can stretch the field and take the safeties deep. Hey, that's a good play. KJ Hamler brings the safeties with him 50 yards downfield. That's a good play. You don't get any fancy points for it, but like sometimes you got to recognize that, like, They don't care about fantasy points. They care about first down. Right?
Absolutely. Calvin, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here with us. It is truly always a pleasure getting that inside scoop on the Cowboys. One of our favorites to talk to. Everyone listening, if you're not following Calvin on Twitter, go and follow him right now at Calvin Watkins and check out his work at sportsdaydfw.com as well. Calvin, you're the man. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Appreciate you,
Thanks
brother.
for having me, man. Appreciate you guys. We gotta do it another week or so.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Yes, sir.
Let's get Calvin back on here soon.
Anytime,
Keith, make
dude.
it happen.
Make it happen,
Make it
Keith.
happen.
Get him back in the rotation. Calvin's a man, dude.
Guys, we got about 5 minutes left, but I want to make sure we hit some of these questions. JL, you got some ready for us?
Nope, but
Nope.
we will get to him. Nicholas, did we hit this Nicholas one? We did, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a super chat one.
Okay. Let's see. Mikey Bueno said Swift and Everett can buy who? Half PPR. Can buy who? Swift or Everett?
Yes,
Swift.
Indeed. Can buy who?
Indeed. Let's go Swift.
Swift is 49.5. Everett doesn't add much. If you're looking for a wide receiver, I'd be looking in like the T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel range for DeAndre Swift. Maybe you can upgrade to AJ Brown, but good luck.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to trade an injured player.
The thing is, dude, Gerald Everett, him and Zach Ertz, they keep getting lucky, dude. Like I said, I was like, these guys are band-aids until DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen come back. The moment DeAndre Hopkins comes back, Marquise Brown's out. The moment Keenan Allen comes back, Mike Williams is out. So the dream for Zach Ertz and Gerald Everett's still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a 2-3 in here saying, okay, I'm seeing you in the cookout later today, JL, talking about our Discord chat. It's a nice beard, by the way. It is not. It's coming in rough.
It's getting there, dude.
It's
I'm
getting
team
there.
I want Maria to know
3 days. So
I'm officially team beard. Simon,
Team
are you-
beard. Oh.
JL says that is 3 days. This is the entire month of October. This is 26 days going on right
No,
here is what
that's
I'm
the-
I
Oh,
shaved
no
on
shave.
Friday.
no shave October. That's what you got. Not bad.
No, because I have to do
C3 also asking, my wide receivers are very inconsistent. Do you think me trading JT for Devontae Adams is fair?
Yes.
I think it's fair. Yeah,
I do.
I think it is fair.
It's fair as it gets. The top of the chart, right?
Top of the chart. Yeah, you're at the
First
top.
to trade
so
with JT,
if
but
that makes your team better, go for it for sure.
It's terrifying.
it's
Yeah.
terrifying. It's scary to trade John.
That's a Halloween trade right there. Right?
It is. William Garvez asking, hey guys, picked up the Gus bus. Waiting on news for my number 2 Swift. I also picked up the Browns backup tight end after the injury to Njoku. I do have Waller waiting to break out. Thoughts on those tight ends, Mr. Tinkler?
Who was the other one besides? It was Waller and Harrison Bryant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Start Darren. If Darren Waller practices today in full, I'm starting Darren Waller. Otherwise, I'll start Harrison Bryant.
Yep. Well, Squilliam, I'm going to agree 100% with our tight end Tinkler here. It's Darren Waller. Harrison Bryant, if this is Dynasty, I love having him on your bench and see what you got. Maybe he is right there. Maybe he's killing it for you, but you got to plug Waller in unless you see something from him.
Yeah. Scott Vicious, hashtag Team Beard. Mine is getting a bit unruly now, though. Let's hit one more question from Eric saying, morning, gents. Would love to hear your thoughts on the trade. PPR redraft. I'd be receiving Lockett and Pollard for Juju and Scary Terry. I'm thin on running backs. Thanks.
Do it. If you're thin on, if you would start Tony Pollard, then do it.
I'm with you. It comes down if Tony Pollard goes right into your starting lineup. Everybody who tuned in with us today, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us this beautiful Wednesday morning. I've got the day right today. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. Coming up next, we've got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. And then our friends Nando and Corey will be on a little bit later today as well. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will see all of you tomorrow. Hogs out.
Out.
Oi, hey.
Hey, oi, hey, oi.